Chapter 2138. Su Yu and the others had the most concentrated mysterious power in their purifying immortal jade bones. Therefore, they could easily avoid the power of the mythological beasts, because the latter saw them as their own kind. However, the power of the purifying immortal jade bones was different for the heavenly Yuan sect. The mysterious power they had obtained was not enough to completely conceal their auras. That was why the heavenly Yuan sect disciple was burned by the power of the divine beast shadow that was rushing towards them. If they wanted to use this power to rush to the vicinity of the huge ball of light, they would die before they could even reach it, not to mention that they could not withstand the scratches from the mythological beasts. Even if they reached it, the mysterious power of the purifying immortal jade bones would have been exhausted. At that time, they would still die. He could only retreat like he was doing now. Only then could they survive. After all, Luo Qingtong was not that stupid. After saving the people of the heavenly Yuan sect, would she give them a chance to bite her back? Luo Qingtong had never been willing to gamble with people's hearts. Even in this strange world, with the warmth from Grandpa Luo and Yi Qianren, she was able to restrain the evilness and coldness in her bones. However, in reality, the defense in her heart would not disappear so easily. There was a difference between close and distant. Luo Qingtong could give the people of the heavenly Yuan sect some help for the sake of the Grand Supreme Dean and Bai Suqing. However, there was no more help. If the people of the heavenly Yuan sect were greedy, they would be the unlucky ones in the end. Luo Qingtong could pull them up from the abyss of despair, but she could also kick them down again. Fortunately, the people of the heavenly Yuan sect did not make such a wrong choice. They retreated in an orderly manner towards the outside of the forbidden area. Su Yu and the others, after dispersing fiercely, also rushed in the direction of the outside of the forbidden area. Their figures were extremely fast in the center of the forbidden area. The beast tamer King Gu Guzhu and the rest of the people from the other sects clearly saw them rushing towards the outside of the forbidden area from different directions, but they could not do anything to stop them. That was because the divine beasts didn't care about Su Yu and the others. Instead, they rushed towards them. Under the attack of a group of divine beasts, the group could only scream miserably. Even staying alive was a problem, so how could they chase after Su Yu and the others? Su Yu and the others could fly through the center of the forbidden zone without a care, but could they? As long as they collided with a divine beast, it would be the end for them. How could it be compared to Su Yu and the others who could do whatever they wanted? Thus, the people from beast-taming King's Valley and the other sects could only watch as Su Yu's group mixed in with the divine beasts and rushed out of the forbidden area. A group of experts and sects from the hidden world could easily kill Su Yu and the others countless times if they were in the outside world. However, they were blocked by the divine beasts and were unable to do anything to the other party. The beast tamer King Gu Guzhu and the others felt as if they were about to vomit blood. They had suffered a few losses in the hands of Luo Qingtong. But now, they couldn't even do anything to her subordinates. Luo Qingtong, that bitch, even if she died, she wouldn't let them have an easy time. The beast tamer King Gu Guzhu and the others were so angry that their bodies couldn't help but tremble violently. However, it was too late to say anything now. Chapter 2139. They thought that Su Yu and the rest had weaknesses in their hands and would not be able to escape from their control. If they had known this would happen, they would have cut off Su Yu and the rest when they had no choice but to be coerced by them. They should have cut off the other party's limbs and crippled their strength, leaving them with only their lives to lead the way. The beast tamer King Gu Guzhu and the rest were furious. However, there was nothing else they could do now. They looked at those extremely terrifying divine beasts flocking towards them. They could easily annihilate all of them. Everyone felt an indescribable chill in their hearts. Ah! Screams of agony rang out one after another. The divine beast flowing light in the center of the forbidden zone was extremely powerful. It was far from the power of the divine beast shadows that they had encountered in the forbidden zone outside. Even a powerful Saint Venerable would have a layer of skin peeled off from the mere touch of these divine beasts' flowing light. The power that they were so proud of in the hidden world was not even worth mentioning in front of the divine beast flowing light. The attacks that they launched were completely eliminated before they could even reach the divine beast shadows. There was not even a splash in the air. Those terrifying divine beast phantoms only needed to flap their wings, raise their heads, and raise their hooves to neutralize their attacks, eliminate them, and then kill them. The people from the various sects and the beast tamer King Guguju and the rest were no match for them at all. Even if he wanted to escape, he had nowhere to run. They were surrounded by the power of the divine beast flowing light. Even if they wanted to escape, where could they escape to? If they could escape, there would not be so many corpses of the extraterritorial experts around. Those people must have been extremely shocked when they discovered the power of the divine beast flowing light. Among these extraterritorial experts, some fought for it and some tried to escape. But in the end, without exception, they all died here. Under such circumstances, how could they possibly escape from the divine beast flowing light's attack? The faces of the people from the various sects and the beast tamer King Guguju and the rest were filled with despair. Right at this moment. Rumble. In the sky, there was an intense rumbling sound again. At this moment, the gigantic ball of light suddenly shrank. There was a loud boom. Its entire body suddenly lifted off the ground and swept towards the sky. Above its head, the huge light pillar and spiritual chi hurricane abruptly shrank and fell. Rumble. The sound of the explosion was like the collapse of the world. In that instant, the spirit chi tornadoes and light pillars all entered the huge ball of light. A violent sound that shook the heavens and earth resounded, and the power of the mythological beast phantoms was recalled by the huge ball of light in an instant. Countless streaks of light flew towards the ball of light from all over the forbidden zone in an instant. Ka. Its seemingly transparent but incomparably hard eggshell, under the bombardment of the pillars of light and the spirit chi hurricane, produced a series of crisp and clear cracking sounds, which almost shook the heavens and the earth. The divine beast to be born. Bang! Chapter 2140. The sector beast was about to be born. Was there anyone who could form a contract with it? If there was, then he would have a chance. If not, then he would really miss a great opportunity this time. The Star Alliance Temple Master was extremely nervous. His strength and status in the extraterrestrial domain were not high, but as a member of the Star Alliance, he still knew some things about the sector beast. For example, once the sector beast broke out of its shell, it would be impossible to form a contract with it. At this time, he could only hope that someone could form a contract with it in the land of the fallen immortals. In this way, he would be able to seize the sector beast. In fact, if the land of the fallen immortals did not allow extraterrestrials and powerhouses above the venerable realm to enter, he would have already rushed in and formed a contract with the sector beast. At this time, the Star Alliance Temple Master had already forgotten that so many extraterrestrial powerhouses had died here. What was he to them? Of course, even if he thought of it, he might not care. Because no one knew what kind of protection was around the unborn sector beast. Those who knew were all dead. Therefore, in the eyes of the Star Alliance Temple Master, those extraterrestrial powerhouses must have killed each other and died here in order to fight for the sector beast. He did not know that it was because of the power of the divine beast's shadow. At this time, Yi Qianming was also standing on a peak not far away, staring in the direction of the land of the fallen immortals. Bei Qing and Feng Yu stood behind him, also looking in the direction of the land of the fallen immortals nervously. The sector beast was about to be born. They did not know if the evil doctor could seize the opportunity to form a contract with it. It was a pity that Master could not enter. Even his soul could not follow the evil doctor through the connection of the 9 Phoenix Ring because it was a great supplement for the spiritual aura in the land of the fallen immortals. Otherwise, the sector beast would not be able to escape. But now, it all depended on whether the evil doctor had the luck and opportunity. At this time, Luo Qingtong and Yun Shi had just appeared outside the forbidden zone. Oh no! Looking at the scene in the sky, Little Pig instantly jumped on Luo Qingtong's shoulder like an ant on a hot pan. Oh no, it's too late. It was so angry that it kept howling. The sector beast is about to be born. They had only just arrived outside the forbidden zone. By the time they reached the center of the forbidden zone, how long would it be? That sector beast had already broken out of its shell and escaped. Oh my mamma mia! It had finally found such a treasure, and it had actually let it slip away right under its nose. One had to know that in this world, there were only a few who were lucky enough to meet an unborn sector beast. Io, it was so angry. His heart ached, his stomach hurt, and his hooves hurt. Just as Little Pig was using his little hoof to cover his chubby chest as if he was suffocating, Luo Qingtong narrowed her eyes as she looked at the heaven and earth anomaly that suddenly appeared in the sky. It's not necessarily impossible. She looked at the streams of light that were rapidly passing by, completely ignoring her existence as they all rushed towards the center of the forbidden zone. If it were any other time in this forbidden area, it would be impossible for anyone to take a step forward. Luo Qingtong looked indifferent. Chapter 2141. Wu, what should I do if my heart hurts again? If it had known that the so-called mysterious power and danger in the forbidden zone was the power of the divine beast shadows, it would have urged Luo Qingtong to come here and contract with the sector beast first. Who would have thought that the treasure in the land of the deceased immortals would be the sector beast? Thinking of this, Little Pig pounded his feet and stomped his chest. It should have asked Luo Qingtong to come to the forbidden zone earlier. Ah! Why am I such a pig brain? Why am I such a pig brain? Little Pig was so sad that it completely forgot that it was a pig now. If it wasn't a pig brain, then what was it? While Little Pig was complaining in its heart, Luo Qingtong's expression was indifferent. She raised her eyes slightly. So, tell me, the person who deliberately left the treasure map in the Saint King's tomb, wanted to resurrect himself, and came to the land of the deceased immortals to seize the treasure, how could he be so sure that he would be able to bypass the power of the divine beast shadows and enter the center of the forbidden zone? You should know that he doesn't have the ability to predict the future. It's also impossible for him to know that the sector beast would appear at this moment. As soon as Luo Qingtong's voice came out, Little Pig's pair of mung bean eyes widened instantly. It looked at Luo Qingtong and suddenly pointed its little hoof at her, stammering, You mean, that's right. The blood in Luo Qingtong's eyes flashed in an instant. She smiled at it and said, no matter what the origin of that Saint King is, there must be a treasure map in the treasure map. But in that treasure map, there must be something he did that allowed him to pass through the forbidden zone and appear next to the sector beast. Besides this, Luo Qingtong couldn't think of any other possibility that could make that Saint King so confident and cautious. Even if he was dead, he still made countless arrangements. Once he was resurrected, he would come to the forbidden zone in the land of the deceased immortals and obtain the sector beast. No matter where that Saint King got the treasure map, it was also possible that he wasn't the Saint King himself at all. After all, there were countless powerhouses who died in the land of the deceased immortals. Since there was someone like Zhuge Shirsan who was lucky enough to escape the forbidden zone and live for a period of time, of course, it was also possible that someone could use special means to preserve their consciousness and then possess that Saint King. Otherwise, as a Saint King, the other party's methods were a bit too many. Luo Qingtong even suspected that the Heart of All Trees and Heart of Wood spirit that she obtained from Bright Moon Island in the North region were also cultivated by him. Saint King Shirsan was the immortals. If this was the case, then it could explain why there was such a high-level array formation in the true Spill continent. But now, it was no matter what. Most importantly, Luo Qingtong still had a chance to catch up with the birth of the sector beast. Let's go. Luo Qingtong raised her hand and took out the treasure map. After carefully examining it, she found that the starting point marked on the treasure map was outside the forbidden zone. And the end point was the place where the sector beast was at the moment when the heaven and earth anomaly was greatly absorbed. This treasure map indeed led directly to the location of the sector beast. Chapter 2142. At this moment, in the center of the forbidden area, Beast Tamer King Guguju and the others were still in a dream. They thought that they were going to die for sure. But who would have thought that just a moment ago, those divine beasts were all summoned back by that gigantic jumping ball of light in an instant. Countless divine beasts turned into beams of light and flew back into the huge jumping ball of light. At the same time, countless pillars of light and tornadoes of spirit energy were blasted into the gigantic ball of light. Even if the beast-taming King Valley Master and the others were stupid, they knew what was going on. The treasure is about to appear. The divine beast's powers have all been summoned back. It's using the power of the light pillars and spirit chi to bombard its shell. Beast Tamer King Guguju and the others were wild with joy. They didn't think that they would be able to welcome such a change and opportunity at this time. Those idiots under Sky Yuan's sect and Luo Qingtong, they thought that without them, we would die. In the end, we weren't fated to die. This treasure is ours. Beast Tamer King Guguju's face was crazed. He looked up to the sky and laughed. His laughter was filled with satisfaction and carefree. In an instant, he leaped up and charged toward the huge ball of light in front of him. Everyone from Beast Tamer King's Valley, cover me and get the treasure. Beast Tamer King Guguju's voice was stern. Here, he and the golden-winged rock were the strongest. If the people of Beast Tamer King's Valley supported him, they would definitely be able to get the treasure. At this time, the people of Beast Tamer King's Valley naturally knew what to do. If the Beast Taming King Valley's Valley Master obtained the treasure, all of them would benefit from it. But if they fought among themselves and let others get the treasure, they would be in trouble. The people of Beast Tamer King's Valley immediately united to block the people of the other sections. The moment the voice of the Beast Taming King Valley's Valley Master rang out, the latter reacted swiftly. They all rushed towards the huge ball of light. Among them were a few other first-class sections. However, the Beast Taming King Valley's members who obtained the fifth set of beast taming arts were stronger than any of the other sections. Coupled with the demonic beasts that they brought with them, it would be a piece of cake for them to stop the people from the various sections. Even if all the sects joined forces, they would still be able to resist for a while. As long as he could stall for time, it would be enough for Beast Tamer King Guguju's figure to rush in front of the huge jumping ball of light. Su Yu, the Grand Supreme Dean, and the others also sensed the commotion when the gigantic ball of light moved. When Su Yu and the others discovered that all the divine beasts had been recalled, their complexions instantly froze. The faces of the people from the Heavenly Yuan sect changed drastically. Not good. That treasure is about to be born, and all the streams of light have been recalled. Everyone was burning with anxiety. If that was the case, then wouldn't the Beast Tamer King, Guguju, and the others be of no threat? Then, that treasure, thinking of this, everyone suddenly raised their heads to look in front of them. With a single glance, their expressions instantly froze. Chapter 2143. Crack, crack, crack. The shell of the huge light ball was already covered with cracks. The huge light pillar and spiritual energy hurricane that descended from the sky, as well as the divine beast flowing light that was summoned back, were all desperately crashing against the transparent shell. The surface of the shell was full of bumps and hollows. At the top of the light ball, fragments had already begun to fall down. Something was moving upwards, one arch at a time. From the Beast Tamer King Guguju's gaze, he could only vaguely see a small black thing wriggling on the surface. At the top, there was only a thin layer of membrane left, as if it could be pushed open at any time. The Beast Tamer King Guguju looked at it and suddenly sucked in a breath of cold air. Not for anything else, but for such a huge phenomenon of heaven and earth descending from the sky. So much power poured in, but only a little of the outer shell of the light ball was blasted open, and the membrane inside was still intact. What on earth was that thing inside? He watched as the little thing pushed against the membrane more and more frequently and with more and more strength. Together with the power pouring in from the sky and the divine beast flowing light that was flying in from all directions. That membrane was pushed higher and higher, and the light on it became more and more transparent. The beast tamer King Guguju's heart was fiercely shocked. He didn't know why, but he always had a feeling that he must not let the thing inside rush out before he made the contract. Otherwise, everything would be lost. Although he didn't know where this feeling came from, the beast tamer King Guguju still trusted his intuition. He directly rushed to the front of the huge light ball without stopping. The divine beast flowing light that was summoned back had already turned into the purest power to help the huge light ball break its shell. Therefore, at this time, there was no reaction at all to the approach of the beast tamer King Guguju. All the divine beast flowing light all turned into rays of spiritual energy light and leaped back into the huge light ball. The beast tamer King Guguju was occasionally brushed by one or two rays of light. He felt the pure and rich power that merged into his body, and immediately his heart was wild with joy. He looked at the huge light ball in front of him, so excited that his eyes almost turned red. Treasure, this is definitely a peerless treasure. Before, the beast tamer King Guguju was still guessing that the thing inside the ball of light could be a mythical beast or even an ancient mythical beast. When he sensed the pure, rich, and untainted power of heaven and earth formed by the flowing light of the divine beasts, he was certain, among them, there must be existences like the ancient divine beasts. Even if it wasn't, it would definitely be a peerless treasure on par with it. The beast tamer King Guguju felt an indescribable excitement and madness when he thought about how he was about to obtain an existence similar to an ancient divine beast. He had never thought that he would have such a heaven-defying opportunity one day. Luo Qingtong, this valley master has to thank you. Thank you for taking away the beast mark inheritance in the Broken Star Valley. Otherwise, how could this valley master have the chance to kill you and catch up with the changes in the Forbidden Zone in time? The beast tamer King Guguju felt proud in his heart. Before, he was extremely angry with Luo Qingtong for taking away the opportunity of his beast tamer King Valley in the Broken Star Valley. However, from the looks of it, he still had to thank Luo Qingtong. Chapter 2144. As the beast tamer King Guguju laughed, he reached out his hand and bit his index finger. He raised his hand and pressed it toward the huge ball of light. He didn't know how to make a contract with such a treasure. But thinking about it, it was always right to use his own blood as a medium. Little baby, come here. The beast tamer King Guguju laughed loudly. His finger directly passed through the huge pillar of light and the spirit chi hurricane that was pouring down, and pressed towards the huge ball of light. At this moment, buzz! A blood-red array suddenly appeared on the white bone ground under the ball of light. Bang, bang, bang! Lines of the array spread out one after another. The white bone corpses all around exploded in an instant. The power contained in them instantly sank into the blood-red array that flew up and filled the lines of the array. The lines of the array on the blood-red array lit up. Then, the huge blood-red array was completely lit up. Then, a faintly discernible silhouette appeared in an instant. Somewhere outside the forbidden area. Holding the treasure in her hand, Luo Qingtong directly stepped into the blood-red array that was activated by the aura of the treasure map in her hand and suddenly lit up. Boom! The energy under her feet was activated. As the power in her body poured into the place marked on the treasure map under her feet. At the same time, it was also the center of the blood-red array. Lines of power and aura suddenly burst out from the blood-red array. The grass and soil all around flew. Countless gravel tumbled and was discharged in all directions from the location of the blood-red array. The huge blood-red array was spinning. Lines of light suddenly shot out from the lines of the array and shrouded Luo Qingtong, Yun Shi, and the corpse puppet of the great Yong saint beside her. When they touched the treasure map in Luo Qingtong's hand, they seemed to have determined something. Swoosh! Those lights concentrated on Luo Qingtong. Pa Ji! Little Pig didn't have time to react and fell to the ground in an instant. And Luo Qingtong, who was beside it, disappeared without a trace. Damn! Little Pig widened his beady eyes in shock. Oh my God! This lousy map could only transport Luo Qingtong. Its eyes widened in shock as it looked at the great Yong saint corpse puppet and Yun Shi, who were also left behind. His beady eyes almost popped out of their sockets. Oh my God! Oh my God! Little Pig was about to go crazy. First of all, he did not know what was going on with the sector beasts. The beast-taming King's Valley and the other sects were all in the forbidden area. After all, with such a huge commotion in the forbidden area, how could they not come over to take a look? Now that the godly beasts had disappeared, those people might be fine. They might have already rushed to where the sector beasts were. Didn't that mean that Luo Qingtong had to deal with so many enemies by herself? Oh my God! Thinking of this, Little Pig's little tail, which was coiled into a mosquito coil, straightened. Chapter 21:45. Little Pig hurriedly said to Yun Shi. Then, he controlled the great Yong saint's corpse puppet and rushed toward the center of the forbidden zone. I'm going to be King screwed. I knew that this treasure map could only teleport one person. Why would I follow Luo Qingtong here? Why didn't I bring Yun Shi and the great Yong saint's corpse puppet to the center of the forbidden zone? If not, I can hide in the 9-story exquisite pagoda. In this way, I can follow Luo Qingtong. But it's too late. My mommy, master, please don't let anything happen to you. Little Pig wailed in his heart. Carrying Yun Shi and the great Yong saint's corpse puppet, he ran toward the center of the forbidden zone. At this moment, in the center of the forbidden zone, the heavenly Yuan sect and Suyu were rushing toward the beast-tamer king, Guguju. But it was too late. In order to avoid being caught by the beast-tamer King's Valley and the other sects, they desperately retreated. They were already far away from the giant jumping ball of light. But who would have thought that the giant jumping ball of light would suddenly change and summon all the divine beasts back? Originally, the beast-tamer King's Valley and the other sects were going to be killed by the divine beasts. But now that all the divine beasts were summoned back, the beast-tamer King's Valley and the other sects benefited instead. The pavilion closest to the water enjoys the moonlight first. Seeing that the beast-tamer king, Guguju, was the first to approach the giant ball of light, the heavenly Yuan sect and Suyu were so anxious that they were about to burst into flames. They were rushing over with all their might. But they couldn't make it in time. They hadn't even reached the area where the beast-taming King's Valley's people were blocking them, let alone the beast-taming King's Valley master. They wouldn't be able to stop him and prevent him from obtaining the divine beast light orb. Everyone was in despair and could only watch as his finger pressed toward the giant ball of light. But at this moment, the blood-colored array suddenly activated. Everyone's eyes were instantly fixed on the huge blood-colored array formation. Who could it be? Then who was the person inside? The people from the other sects who were entangled with the beast-taming King's Valley also fixed their gazes on the gigantic blood-colored formation. When they saw the faintly discernible figure above the array formation, their hearts trembled violently. Who was it that was able to pass through a formation and appear right in front of the ball of light at the center of the forbidden zone? Could it be someone from outside the realm? After all, besides the Xenorace experts that had participated in the fight for this treasure, there was no other possibility for them to set up a formation in the surroundings. However, weren't all those Xenorace experts already dead? Besides, outsiders couldn't enter the land of the fallen immortals. Otherwise, the people from the Star Alliance Hall would have already come in and taken the treasure away. Everyone was very nervous. They didn't know who the figure that appeared in the array was. However, in their own hearts, they naturally wished that it was someone from outside the realm. After all, it wouldn't be a problem for them if outsiders obtained this treasure. However, if the beast-taming King's Valley were to obtain this treasure, then everyone in the hidden world would have to submit to them. Chapter 2146. Thinking of this, everyone was anxious as they stared in the direction of the blood-red array. As for the beast-tamer King Guguju, when he saw the blood-red array light up, he was also shocked. Not for anything else, but he could also think of what everyone else could think of. Thinking that the person who appeared in the blood-red array was most likely someone from outside the realm and had broken through the restriction to appear here, the beast-tamer King Guguju felt a chill in his heart. Luckily, he had already broken through the light pillar's shroud. As long as he pressed down, he would be able to make the little fellow in the ball of light recognize him as its master. Now, even if the Heavenly Emperor came, no one would be able to stop him. Thinking of this, the beast-tamer King Guguju sneered and pressed down. Ha! He laughed out loud, "No one can stop me. This treasure is mine." As he spoke, his laughter was indescribably arrogant and proud. His entire person was indescribably proud of himself. Hearing this, the people from the Sky Yuan sect and Su Yu's group all felt a chill in their hearts. The beast-tamer King Guguju had succeeded. Then they, and their master, damn it. Su Yu's eyes were bloodshot as she punched the ground. She was like a trapped beast as she roared in a hoarse voice, "I shouldn't have retreated. She shouldn't have retreated and let the divine beasts in the forbidden area kill the people from the sects and the beast-tamer King's Valley. She should have led the people from the heavenly diabolism to resist and kill them. This way, when the divine beasts retreated, they could have stopped the people from the beast-tamer King's Valley for a moment." Su Yu's eyes were bloodshot. She couldn't help her master protect the opportunity that should have belonged to her. "Alright, how can this be blamed on you?" The Grand Dean's eyes were also slightly red. "The people from the beast-tamer King's Valley and the other sects are waiting to catch you. If you had stayed, they would have been able to get close to the giant ball of light before the divine beasts retreated. Speaking of which, it's our Sky Yuan sect's fault for dragging you down." With that, the Grand Supreme Dean clenched his fists tightly. If it wasn't for that bastard Chen Tong, Su Yu's identity wouldn't have been exposed. Even if he had only said that Su Yu and the others had a way to avoid the divine beast flowing light and didn't reveal the identities of Su Yu and the others, things wouldn't have escalated to this point. But that bastard said that Su Yu and the others were Luo Qingtong's people. Under such circumstances, the beast-taming King's Valley naturally wouldn't let Su Yu's group off. Even the people from the Heavenly Yuan sect had become the trump card to suppress Su Yu and the others. Speaking of which, it was all their fault for harming Luo Qingtong. The Grand Supreme Dean's heart was filled with guilt. The Heaven Branch sect master and the others did not say anything. The Grand Supreme Dean was right. Indeed, they had harmed Luo Qingtong and Su Yu, as well as themselves. Fortunately, Luo Qingtong wasn't here. They could only hope that she would be able to escape the pursuit of the beast-taming King's Valley. But as everyone thought this, they felt that their hopes were very slim. After all, once the beast-taming King Guguju obtained this treasure, perhaps even the Star Alliance's Temple Master wouldn't be able to do anything to him. At that time, they could only treat him with respect. In this way, the entire hidden world and true Spill continent would be under his control. Where could Luo Qingtong escape to? This time, they had really caused the other party and himself to be in deep trouble. As everyone thought this, their hearts were filled with despair. The people from the other sects were slightly better off. Listening to the voice of the beast-taming King Guguju, they felt that they could only serve him in the future. Chapter 2147. A faint, chuckling voice rang out. Beast Tamer King Guguju, you flatter me. Although I also think that this weapon in my hand is a treasure, and it's one of a kind in the world. But if Beast Tamer King Guguju wants to contract with it, it's impossible. Because it already belongs to me. Her words had a double meaning. As this voice rang out, the heavenly Yuan Zong, Su Yu, and the others, who had originally been in despair, instantly revealed surprised and joyful expressions. At this moment, they were so moved that they almost shed tears. Master! Luo Qingtong! Their voices sounded at the same time. Almost as soon as they raised their heads, they saw a girl in a fiery red robe standing in front of Beast Tamer King Guguju, looking down at the heavens. Luo Qingtong swung her sword, which happened to block Guguju's finger. When the latter touched it with his finger, he felt a cold sensation. He thought that he had touched the outer shell of the huge ball of light. At this moment, hearing Luo Qingtong's voice, Beast Tamer King Guguju's laughter stopped abruptly. He looked at the girl in front of him with a shocked expression, not knowing why she suddenly appeared here. Luo Qingtong? You bitch, didn't you die in the Broken Stars Valley? Beast Tamer King Guguju's face was filled with indescribable shock and disbelief. At that time, they had destroyed the cave, and even the 4 Een corpse beasts and Een corpses were completely motionless. How could Luo Qingtong come out of the cave alive? Beast Tamer King Guguju couldn't believe what he was seeing at this moment. Moreover, how did she appear in front of him? Beast Tamer King Guguju's eyes popped out. Looking at Luo Qingtong standing in front of him, he seemed to think of something, and suddenly lowered his head to look at the huge blood-red formation. As expected, the figure on the blood-red formation had disappeared. Beast Tamer King Guguju's face was ferocious. He looked at Luo Qingtong and shouted, "Bitch, did you come here through that blood-red formation? The person in the blood-red formation was you? This bitch, it must be the treasure map's credit. Damn it!" Previously, even if they had confirmed that she was dead, they should have searched for the treasure map from her. However, the changes in the Forbidden Zone had come too suddenly. They had been overjoyed at the time, thinking that since the Forbidden Zone had changed, it didn't matter if they didn't have her treasure map. Plus, they were afraid of losing the initiative, so they hurriedly rushed here. In the end, he was almost killed by Su Yu and the others and even gave Luo Qingtong a chance to rush here. It was really infuriating. If they knew that the treasure map could be sent directly to this light ball through the formation, they would have gotten it no matter what. Beast Tamer King Guguju thought, and his teeth almost broke from clenching. He fiercely waved his hand, and was about to blast Luo Qingtong away, and press on the huge light ball's outer shell again. However, before he could make a move, Luo Qingtong, who had already seen through his plan, directly blocked it with her sword. Boom! The sharp sword chi from the life and death dual rights sword in her hand, mixed with the aura of the death edge and annihilation, forced Beast Tamer King Guguju to retreat. You? Chapter 2148. Beast Tamer King Guguju didn't expect Luo Qingtong to have such strength. She didn't die in the cave in the Shattered Star Valley, and she even improved her strength? Beast Tamer King Guguju looked at the aura of the Holy Emperor realm around Luo Qingtong and almost went crazy. How did this woman become such a monster? She was just a Holy Emperor before. How did she reach the Holy Emperor realm in such a short time? How did she do it? Beast Tamer King Guguju didn't know that Luo Qingtong could purify the immortal jade bones, especially the blood immortal jade bones. Naturally, he didn't know where the girl's frightening growth and strength came from. He couldn't help but wonder if there were other more powerful inheritances in the cave. Because they destroyed the cave, Luo Qingtong took advantage of it. Thinking of this, he almost spat out a mouthful of blood. It was fine that Luo Qingtong got the beast mark inheritance, but if Luo Qingtong also got another inheritance because of them, Beast Tamer King Guguju felt like he wanted to die. Not only did he fail to kill her, he even gave her benefits. Beast Tamer King Guguju didn't feel good just thinking about it. What made him even angrier was that Luo Qingtong raised her hand and pressed one of her fingers on the huge ball of light after forcing him away. There was a wound on her finger that Luo Qingtong had just been cut by the sword energy. The blood on the wound was immediately absorbed by the huge transparent ball of light as soon as it touched the outer shell. Buzz! Blood-colored patterns suddenly spread out on the huge ball of light. This was the formation of a contract. At the same time, the rays of light that fell from the sky enveloped Luo Qingtong in an instant. Countless spirit chi hurricanes and divine beast lights were also distributed to Luo Qingtong as they rushed toward the huge ball of light. Through the power transmitted from the huge ball of light, the latter's entire body was pulled into the air in an instant. Countless spirit chi laws and power rushed into her body in an instant. The aura and power in Luo Qingtong's body kept increasing. It turned out that the power that was used to break the shell of the realm beast was transmitted to Luo Qingtong through the contract at this moment, giving her the opportunity to be infused with the power of heaven and earth. Such an opportunity was comparable to a rare opportunity. After all, the power of heaven and earth was the purest, most fundamental power. This power infused into Luo Qingtong's body was greatly beneficial to her strength. It would have a far-reaching impact in the future. After all, not everyone could obtain the blessings and suppression of the heavenly Tao. Watching this scene, the beast-taming King Valley Master's eyes turned red with jealousy. B***TCH. He rushed toward Luo Qingtong. He never thought that contracting with this ball of light would give him such benefits. The power that Luo Qingtong's sword had stimulated just now had already shocked him. Luo Qingtong was a monster. After so many confrontations, Beast King Guguju knew how terrifying the girl's strength and ability were. When she was at the Holy Emperor realm, she could easily dodge the attacks of a group of holy venerables. Chapter 2149. Beast Tamer King Guguju could not believe his eyes when he first came into contact with that power. He could not allow her to successfully contract with that gigantic ball of light. He could not allow her strength to increase any further. Otherwise, all of them who had a grudge against her would die here. At this moment, Beast Tamer King Guguju's desire to kill Luo Qingtong was even greater than his desire for that gigantic ball of light. Even if he had to destroy that gigantic ball of light, he could not allow Luo Qingtong to successfully contract with it. Beast Tamer King Guguju's expression was ferocious. He immediately charged towards Luo Qingtong. Then, with a boom, an attack that had been brewing up to its peak was blasted towards Luo Qingtong. Boom! That boundless power gathered all of Beast Tamer King Guguju's strength. All of his strength was gathered in this one move. In an instant, that attack was like a surging sea. A hurricane swept across the sky and blasted towards Luo Qingtong. Buzz! That attack formed the shape of a roaring tiger in mid-air and blasted towards Luo Qingtong. The move was like its form, gathering the power of heaven and earth to form a spirit. This move even contained the chi of the immortals. The Holy Venerable Realm was the last realm of the Venerable Realm. At the same time, it was the realm closest to the Venerable Realm. Beast Tamer King Guguju's strength was still at the peak of the Venerable Realm. This ferocious tiger that was conjured by his move was vivid and lifelike, just like a real tiger. It even had an aura of agility. It was no longer like a tiger formed by a move, which only had the form but not the spirit. The beast-taming King Valley's Valley Master had transformed into a ferocious tiger that possessed a spiritual aura. It roared fiercely at Luo Qingtong and then charged towards Luo Qingtong. That bloody mouth was filled with the essence of beast-tamer King Guguju's attack. He vowed to kill Luo Qingtong under his palm. The young girl's threat to him was so great that he couldn't bear it. It was even to the point of fear. Go to hell, bitch." The beast tamer King Gu Guzhu's expression was cold. He was certain that Luo Qingtong would be immobilized by the aura of the light ball. The fact that the other party was able to obtain an increase in strength this time was an opportunity, but at the same time, a restriction. When one's aura was being injected and raised, one could not move casually. With the power of heaven and earth pouring in, Luo Qingtong could not move even if she wanted to. She probably didn't think of this when she made the contract, right? Beast tamer King Gu Guzhu sneered. Right now, he was going to kill this B***tch on the spot. Roar! The power of the tiger swept out in an instant and rushed towards Luo Qingtong. The latter looked at the power of the tiger that was rushing towards her with cold eyes. Luo Qingtong did not expect that after making the contract with the light ball, she would be faced with an increase in strength. If beast tamer King Gu Guzhu and the others were not here, such an increase in strength was definitely a great opportunity. But now that beast tamer King Gu Guzhu and the others were here, this opportunity became a crisis for her. Luo Qingtong's body was fixed in midair. The blood in her hand was being sucked out continuously. The huge light beam and the spirit aura hurricane in the sky were also being injected. Through the contract with the light ball, they were increasing her strength and aura. Unless she immediately gave up the contract with this sector beast, she would not be able to escape the attack of beast tamer King Gu Guzhu. Chapter 2150. Luo Qingtong frowned slightly. The bloody light in her eyes flickered. Even though there were countless ways to avoid this attack, Luo Qingtong couldn't move because she couldn't give up. In her dictionary of life, there was never such a word. She could choose not to fight for temporary gains and losses and avoid the attack. But this time, if she dared to retreat, beast tamer King Gu Guzhu would definitely take the opportunity to attack. At that time, if he seized the opportunity to contract with the sector beast, Luo Qingtong wouldn't be able to avoid it either. In that case, why should she hide? At the moment of life and death, only by fighting with all her strength could she have a chance of survival. This was the experience that Luo Qingtong had gained from countless pursuits in the past when she fell into adversity. At the moment of life and death, she would never retreat. Luo Qingtong's eyes were cold. In just an instant, her mind communicated with the nine-layered exquisite pagoda in her mind. At this time, only this suppressive artifact might be able to solve her crisis. However, the only thing that Luo Qingtong was worried about was that this nine-layered exquisite pagoda had another name, which was suppressing demon pagoda. And she was in the process of contracting with the sector beast. She didn't know if this would affect her. Luo Qingtong thought about it, and her frown deepened. But at this moment, the ferocious tiger formed by the move was already in front of her. There was no time to hesitate. Luo Qingtong's eyes were cold. She communicated with the nine-layered exquisite pagoda directly and was about to draw out the opponent's aura. At this moment, bang! A figure rushed in front of her in an instant and blocked the fierce tiger's attack. Bang! The figure was instantly blasted away by the fierce tiger's attack. With a boom, he hit the ground not far from Luo Qingtong. The white bones on the ground were smashed into powder. Cough, cough. The person coughed violently and then raised his head. It was the Sky Yuan Sect Master. That's right, to be able to block the beast tamer King Gu Guzhu's attack, one must be at the same level as him. At this moment, the other sects were being held back by the beast taming King's Valley. Only the Heavenly Yuan Sect and Su Yu's group managed to catch up. While everyone was still stunned by Luo Qingtong's appearance, they bypassed the Beast Tamer Valley's group and appeared not far away from Luo Qingtong and Gu Guzhu. As soon as Luo Qingtong made a move, the Sky Yuan Sect Master immediately rushed over and stood in front of her. After all, if the Beast Tamer King Gu Guzhu could see the situation Luo Qingtong was in, how could they not? Pooh! The Heaven Branch Sect Master raised his head and spat out a mouthful of blood. The beast tamer King Gu Guju had obtained the fifth beast tamer incantation. His strength and his contracted beasts were becoming more and more compatible. The strength he could unleash was also several times stronger than before. They were both peak holy venerables, but the Heaven Branch Sect Master was no match for the beast tamer King Gu Guju. Fortunately, he had obtained the divine jade bone that Luo Qingtong had given him in advance because of the Grand Supreme President and Bai Suqing's relationship. Otherwise, he would have been seriously injured and on the verge of death after taking on the beast tamer King Gu Guju's attack. Sect Master. Father. Master. Everyone from the Heavenly Yuan sect had already rushed over. Seeing the Heavenly Yuan sect master fall, they hurriedly helped him up. Su Yu, Su Xiaoxiao, and the others rushed in front of Luo Qingtong and looked at Luo Qingtong through the huge light pillar and spiritual energy storm. Master. Chapter 2151. Their eyes were filled with tears as they looked at Luo Qingtong. Mistress, we're here. Don't worry, we won't let anyone disturb you. Su Yu said firmly to Luo Qingtong. The people of heavenly diabolism behind her stood upright, just like when they were in the Luo family, following Luo Qingtong. Among the people of heavenly diabolism, there were people from heavenly diabolism, as well as people from the Luo family's Iron Army. Because they were sent by Luo Qingtong to the western regions to assist Su Yu, they merged with the people of heavenly diabolism. They followed Su Yu and were called heavenly diabolism. At this moment, they were all standing silently behind Su Yu, looking at Luo Qingtong in the light beam. In the past, it was always the young mistress who stood in front of them, blocking all the bloody storms for them. She only let out a little wind and rain, allowing them to temper themselves and improve themselves. Under the young mistress's wings, they slowly grew and improved. The young mistress was so powerful that she could recruit more people who were willing to work for her, who were willing to serve her. But the young mistress had always led them. She didn't despise them for being weak, nor did she despise them for being stupid. She spent a lot of effort to pave the way for them and improve their strength. But for the promise she made to them in the past, I promise you here that as long as the Luo family exists, you will all enjoy the same glory. In the future, no one can stop you from soaring for thousands of miles. At that time, the young lady was high-spirited, standing in the martial arts arena of the Luo family. When the Luo family was at its weakest, surrounded by wolves, she made a promise to them. At that time, they thought that Luo Qingtong was trying to appease them. But who knew that so many years had passed? The Luo family had leaped from the aristocratic family of the Eastern Fence country to the ruler of the Great Yong sacred dynasty. Luo Qingtong had even walked out of the secular world of the true Spill continent and came to the hidden world. They had reached a level they had never imagined. But in the end, he had never forgotten them. The girl who had once promised them that she would soar into the heavens and no one could stop her had really brought them all out with her own strength. From the Eastern Fence country to the Western regions, from the Western regions to the hidden world, and then to the land of the fallen immortals, they had traveled to places they had never dared to imagine. They now possessed strength that they had never dared to dream of before. Not only that, but they also had a proud status that surpassed even those of the true Spill continent. All of this came from the young girl in front of him. She used her own strength to bring them to witness her glory, and gave them the same honor. Their lives were worth it. Miss, just focus on breaking through the contract. We will stay by your side and not let anyone get close to you. That is, unless all of them died. Su Xiaoxiao, Little Overlord Yuan, and the others had the same thoughts as them. The girl met them in the branch of the Empire of Qin in the Tianyu Empire. He had brought them from good-for-nothing trash to their current strength and status. Everything they had was given to them by Luo Qingtong. Now that the girl was in trouble, they were naturally duty-bound. Boss, just focus on breaking through the contract. Little Overlord Yuan said with a carefree face, full of heroism. With us here, no one will be able to get close to you. Chapter 2152. Their voices were sonorous. Luo Qingtong looked at these people around her. She looked at them, telling her to break through the contract and not to worry. They would protect her. Her heart was touched again and again. That uncontrollable warmth. From her eyes, heart, and soul, it kept flowing. Luo Qingtong's life was full of ups and downs. Except for the old beggar who withdrew from her life early. In her last life, she did not get any warmth about people and humanity. After her ability was exposed, everyone tried to get close to her in order to obtain her ability so that they could use her. All the kindness and warmth had a price. It was not that she did not choose to believe. But in the end, all she got was betrayal. Therefore, her character became more and more evil, more and more independent, and more unscrupulous. After coming to this different world, why did she protect the Luo family and Old Master Luo so much? That was because Old Master Luo's love and care for the previous Luo Qingtong was like the old beggar's love and care for her in her last life. In her last life, Luo Qingtong could not give him a good life because her ability awakened too late. She could not protect him until he grew old. So in this life, she would never let Old Master Luo be sad. If he wanted to revive the Luo family, she would revive the Luo family. If he wanted to know the safety of Luo Jinghong and the others, she would work hard to find them. Luo Qingtong did not want the tragedy of her last life to repeat in this life. She was used to carrying everything on her own. Before she met Yi Qianxian, she did not even think about who she would rely on and who she could rely on. She had to rely on herself for everything. She fought against the heavens and was bruised all over. But the man used his broad shoulders to shelter her from the wind and rain, to resist the wind and frost for her. He never coveted her ability. His strength was extraordinary, and his status was outstanding, but he never forced her because of it. He let her escape and alienate, so that she could slowly adapt and accept him. It could be said that Yi Qianxian was the first person to give Luo Qingtong a sense of security. His love had never brought Luo Qingtong a sense of suffocation or oppression. On the contrary, it was incomparably reassuring. As for Su Yu and the others, Luo Qingtong's gaze swept over the figures and faces in front of her. These people said that she had given them everything. But to Luo Qingtong, she was just fulfilling her duty as a master and boss. She wanted to have her own forces and team, so naturally, she wouldn't be stingy with giving benefits to the people around her. However, they remembered her kindness in their hearts and stood by her side at the crucial moment. There was no calculation, no coldness, no indifference. These people had stood by her side without hesitation when she was in the most difficult situation. They were completely different from those who had come to her side for the sake of benefits and her ability in her previous life. Their eyes were filled with sincerity and passion. His eyes were filled with determination, and he was not stingy about giving up his life for her. She had all the warmth and tenderness that she could not get in the past in this life. Luo Qingtong looked at them and smiled. If this was her goal in coming here in this life, then in her previous life, she did not die unjustly. Chapter 2153. But in this life, she wanted to live a good life. For a long, long time. Because of the people around her. Okay. Luo Qingtong looked at them and nodded. It's all up to you. Protect me. Luo Qingtong had always been used to fighting against the heavens. Other than Yi Qianming, she had never put her life in the hands of anyone else. This time, she put her life in the hands of Su Yu and the others. Swish! She closed her eyes, and the aura around her started to rise at a rapid speed. At the same time, the blood-red lines in her hand where the light ball was connected to were also moving quickly. Round and round, they moved quickly to the outer shell of the light ball. Once these blood-red lines covered the entire body of the outer shell, the contract between Luo Qingtong and the sector beast would be completed. Luo Qingtong's wholehearted devotion obviously sped up the process. Boom! When Luo Qingtong was wholeheartedly devoted to the contract and the breakthrough, on the other side, beast tamer King Gu Guzhu saw that his attack was blocked and rushed over again. However, he was stopped by the people from the Sky Yuan sect when he was halfway there. Cough, cough. The Sky Yuan sect master appeared in front of him with the help of the people of the Sky Yuan sect. Beast tamer King Gu Guzhu, don't waste your time. With the people of the Sky Yuan sect here, don't even think about taking a step forward. If Luo Qingtong succeeded in the contract, it would be a good thing for the people of the Sky Yuan sect. Not to mention, they owed Luo Qingtong a favor. If it weren't for the girl and Su Yu, they would have suffered heavy losses after entering the Forbidden Zone. Not to mention, Luo Qingtong was in this predicament because Qintong betrayed Su Yu and the others. Otherwise, beast tamer King Gu Guzhu and the others would never have had the chance to get close to the light ball. They owed Luo Qingtong too much. Whether it was for her or for themselves, they couldn't let the people of Beast Taming King's Valley stop Luo Qingtong from forming a contract with the Ball of Light. You want to stop me? The beast tamer King Gu Guzhu looked at them angrily. He could ignore Su Yu and the others, but he couldn't afford to be careless with the people from the Sky Yuan sect. It was not that he was afraid that he would not be able to defeat the people from the Sky Yuan sect. Instead, he couldn't allow them to stall for time. Luo Qingtong's aura was becoming denser and denser. She was about to break through to the peak of the Saint Emperor realm. The blood-colored veins on the ball of light had already covered a small half of it. The beast tamer King Gu Guzhu's expression was unusually cold. Good, good, good. He sneered at the Tian Yuan sect master and the others. He snorted, do you think you can stop me with just you? If it weren't for the fact that I'm afraid of being successfully contracted by that bitch, I could kill all of you by myself with a bit of time. The beast tamer King Gu Guzhu's heart was filled with disdain. Even the strongest person in the Sky Yuan sect, the sect master, had been injured by him. How could the others possibly be a match for him? Of course, this was also because the Sky Yuan sect master had rushed out in a hurry. He couldn't block Gu Guzhu's attack with all his strength. Otherwise, his injuries wouldn't be so serious. But it was useless to say more. The remaining elders of the Sky Yuan sect could only delay the beast tamer King Gu Guzhu for a short while. But the beast tamer King Gu Guzhu wasn't willing to give them even that short moment. After all, that woman Luo Qingtong was too strange and cunning. Chapter 2154. His opponent had already reached a terrifying level. The beast tamer King Gu Guzhu had never tasted defeat like Luo Qingtong against a cultivator who was weaker than him. To him, his opponent was no longer just a cultivator who was weaker than him. The pressure and threat she brought to him was much more intense and terrifying than a cultivator who was stronger than him. He absolutely could not give Luo Qingtong any chance to breathe. He absolutely could not let her succeed in forming the contract. With this thought in mind, the beast tamer King Gu Guzhu's face darkened as he said to the other sects who were blocked outside, everyone, you've seen it too. That bitch Luo Qingtong is about to succeed in forming the contract with that ball of light. The treasure in this forbidden area is extremely powerful and terrifying. I wonder what level it is. If she gets her hands on that ball of light, our beast tamer King's Valley will be in big trouble. You people who helped her with her evil deeds and almost killed her subordinates won't be able to escape either, right? He sneered. Moreover, we just threatened the Sky Yuan sect. Do you think they won't take revenge after that bitch Luo Qingtong successfully forms the contract with that ball of light? The beast tamer King Gu Guzhu's face was cold and gloomy. Hearing his words, everyone, including the Sky Yuan sect master and Su Yu, felt their hearts skip a beat. Especially Su Yu and the others. They had just finished speaking with Luo Qingtong and were now gathering with the Sky Yuan sect to guard against the beast tamer King Guguju. Their hearts skipped a beat when they heard the other party's words. The beast tamer King Guguju was obviously trying to drive a wedge between them. He wanted the other sects to join forces to deal with them. In this way, even if they joined forces with the Sky Yuan sect, they might not be able to hold them off for long. After all, there were many first-class and second-class sects among the other sections. On their side, there was only the Heavenly Yuan sect, which was a first-class sect. As for the other sects in the hidden world, their hearts skipped a beat when they heard the words of the beast tamer King Guguju. Even though they knew that the beast tamer King Guguju was trying to drive a wedge between them and the Heavenly Yuan sect, as well as Su Yu and the others, they didn't know what to do. However, the people from the various sects had to admit it. The beast tamer King Guguju's scheme was blatantly obvious. So what if they saw through the other party's thoughts? What the other party said was the truth. Previously, in order to reach the center of the Forbidden Zone, they had joined forces with beast tamer King Guguju and the others to force the Heavenly Yuan sect and Su Yu. Not only that, he even threatened Su Yu and the others with the lives of the Heavenly Yuan sect's people. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that all of these were mortal enemies. If they allowed Luo Qingtong to successfully contract with the Ball of Light, would they still have a good time? They didn't dare to gamble. From the looks of it, it would be better to help the beast tamer King Valley obtain the Ball of Light. After all, if the beast tamer King Valley obtained the Ball of Light, they would at most be disbanded and forced to join the beast tamer King Valley. However, if Luo Qingtong obtained the Ball of Light, as the crowd thought about it, their gazes towards the Heavenly Yuan sect and Su Yu changed. Seeing the change in their expressions, the Heavenly Yuan sect master, Su Yu and the others' gazes changed abruptly. Everyone. The Heavenly Yuan sect master wanted to say something. Chapter 2155. The people from the various sects were already standing on the side of the beast tamer King, Guguju. Sky Branch Sect Master, we know what you want to say. A first-rate sect master said in a low voice, but to us, your words are not persuasive at all. So what if the Sky Branch Sect Master told them that they wouldn't pursue the matter? The people from the various sects didn't dare to bet on what Luo Qingtong would do in the end. They couldn't use their own sect's future to gamble with the Sky Branch sect. Of course, the people from the various sects also had other thoughts. That was, the people from the Beast Tamer King's Valley wouldn't stop them now. Then, when they dealt with the people from the Sky Branch sect later, would they be able to seize the opportunity to obtain the contract rights to that Ball of Light? With such thoughts in mind, they didn't listen to the Sky Branch sect master's words and directly stood on the side of the Beast Tamer King, Guguju. Ha ha ha. The Beast Tamer King, Guguju, raised his head to the sky and laughed. His laughter was unusually sinister and complacent. Do you see that? Sky Branch Sect Master, and all of you. He looked coldly at the Sky Branch Sect Master, Su Yu, and the rest and laughed coldly. You can't protect Luo Qingtong. If you know what's good for you, then scram. This way, if I'm in a good mood, I might reluctantly spare your worthless lives. Of course, Luo Qingtong's people are an exception. All of them must die. Su Yu and the rest looked coldly at him, completely unmoved. The Sky Branch Sect Master and the rest didn't care about the Beast Tamer King, Guguju's words. They were bound together with Luo Qingtong for good or ill. The words of the Beast Tamer King, Guguju, were simply not to be trusted. Furthermore, to become a dog under the feet of the Beast Tamer King, Guguju, in order to survive, they might even be worse than a dog. The people of the Sky Branch weren't that cheap. Father. Master. Bai Suqing and the Grand Supreme Dean were afraid that the Heaven Branch Sect Master would be persuaded by the Beast Tamer King Guguju. Just as they were about to speak, the Heaven Branch Sect Master waved his hand at them. Then, he ordered the people of the Sky Yuan Sect, set up the array. With the Sky Yuan Sect's ability, they would risk their lives to protect Luo Qingtong. If he succeeded, the Heavenly Yuan Sect would have nothing to worry about in the future. If it doesn't work, then I'll just treat it as giving away my life to Luo Qingtong and the others. In any case, this was what they owed the other party. Yes. Bai Suqing and the Grand Supreme Dean wept with joy. They quickly set up the array with the others. The crowd surrounded Luo Qingtong and the ball of light in the middle. Seeing this, the beast tamer King Gu Guzhu's expression turned cold. Humph, refusing a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. Since you're so stubborn, then go die with Luo Qingtong and the others. His eyes were cold. Now that he had the people of the other sects and the beast tamer King's Valley on his side, how long would it take to deal with the Heaven Branch Sect Master and the others? It could kill them all in an instant. At that time, they would go to hell with Luo Qingtong and the others. The beast tamer King, Gu Guzhu sneered. Boom! He raised his hand and instantly, an attack was launched towards the Heaven Branch Sect Master and the others. At the same time, he waved his hand and shouted, "Attack!" As he spoke, he had already raised his hand. Golden-Winged Condor. Previously, the Golden-Winged Condor had been fighting the people of the other sects with the people of the Beast Tamer King's Valley and the other demonic beasts. Chapter 2156. Boom! The beast-taming King Valley's Valley Master roared. Instantly, the golden-winged eagle with bloodshot eyes spread its huge wings and flew in front of the beast-tamer King Gu Guzhu. Kill! The beast-tamer King Gu Guzhu's voice was cold as he flew onto the golden-winged eagle. The other members of the beast-taming King's Valley also jumped onto their contracted beasts in an instant. The power of their beast-taming art combined with their contracted beasts increased the strength of both parties. This was the power of a beast-tamer. Not only were they strong, but they also had the help of their contracted beasts. They could also increase the strength of their contracted beasts in battle. They could make 1 + 1 greater than 2. This kind of increase in strength was not something an ordinary warrior or soul master could achieve. Unless it was a soul master with a special soul seal. Otherwise, an ordinary soul master of the same level would not be able to compete with a beast tamer's fighting strength. Boom! After the group of people jumped onto their respective beasts, their strength increased greatly. They immediately rushed towards the people from the Heavenly Yuan Sect. Behind them was a group of people from the other sections. They wanted the contracted light balls and rushed towards the Heavenly Yuan Sect and Suyu without hesitation. Boom, boom, boom. Waves of extremely powerful aura fluctuations burst out from the group of people from the other sections. Then, the group of people rushed towards Luo Qingtong like a tide. Protect Master. People from the Heavenly Diabolism, let them go. Along with Su Yu's voice, suddenly, a bright light, like a living thing, lit up from the direction of their bodies. The group of people from the Heavenly Yuan Sect did not know what Su Yu meant by, "let them go," at first. But when they saw the huge whirlpool and the figure that appeared beside them, everyone's eyes widened. This is, the people from the Heavenly Yuan Sect were shocked. The Grand Supreme Dean slapped his thigh. Damn! Great! This evil Dr. Brad is actually hiding so many things from me. Ha ha ha. This stinky girl, wait till she successfully breaks through the contract, I will definitely settle the score with her. He hit it too well. As the Grand Supreme Dean scolded him, he laughed heartily. Not because of anything else, but because what appeared next to Su Yu and the others were demonic beasts. Furthermore, although the level of this group of demonic beasts was not as high as the golden-winged Great Peng and the others under the beast-tamer King Gu Guzhu and the others, their tyrannical auras were strangely not overpowered by them. Beside Su Yu, the thunder beast's figure grew bigger in an instant. With a roar, it threw Su Yu onto its back. Roar! Suyu stepped on the Thunder Beast's shoulder and looked in the direction of the beast tamer King Guguju and the others. His eyes were cold. Let us deal with those demons. Suyu and the others' contracts were all heaven and earth contracts. As for the demonic beasts under them, they were originally savage beasts that were hiding at the edge of the western wilderness. Although these demonic beasts were not as high level as the golden-winged Great Pung and the others, their ferocious auras were not any weaker than the golden-winged Great Pung and the others. After all, the demonic beasts that could raise their strength to the Saint Realm and above in that area were all extremely powerful and ferocious. Furthermore, they had previously been fed by Luo Qingtong with the aura of the 9-story exquisite pagoda. Chapter 2157. Among the beast-taming King Valley's group, apart from the few holy venerate-level demonic beasts under the Dark Elder's command, there were no other demonic beasts. When the other demonic beasts sensed the aura of the demonic beasts around Suyu and the others, they were all inexplicably flustered. Even though they had not regained their senses due to the control of beast-taming King Guguju and the others. However, the pressure and fear that came from their souls still caused them to retreat in a frenzy. Sensing the demonic beast's emotions, beast-taming King Guguju and the others were indescribably shocked and furious. You are all beast-taming masters. Beast-taming King Guguju and the other higher-ups looked at Suyu and the others with gloomy and furious expressions. They were all beast-taming masters. Bastard, Luo Qingtong, that bitch. Could it be that after secretly peeking at our beast-taming King Valley's beast-taming art, she taught it to Suyu and the others in the blink of an eye? But how could it be so coincidental? Among this group of people, there just happened to be people who had the talent to cultivate the beast-taming art? Or could it be that these people were specially selected by Luo Qingtong to cultivate the beast-taming art? But what was up with the demonic beasts around them? Where did they find so many high-level demonic beasts? How did they contract with them? Even if beast-taming King Guguju and the others racked their brains, they would not be able to figure out that the demonic beasts that Suyu and the others had contracted were not the beast marks that they cultivated with the beast-taming art. Instead, they were the heaven and earth contracts that Luo Qingtong had personally drawn up for them. With the power of the heaven and earth contracts, what kind of demonic beasts couldn't they contract with? Suyu and the others had already contracted with the powerful demonic beasts of the far west wilderness for a long time and were already familiar with each other. Now that they were released to fight, their strength had increased by a notch. Not only that, the demonic beasts contracted by the heaven and earth contracts were not under the control of beast-taming King Guguju and the others. At this moment, seeing the shocked expressions of the beast-tamer King Guguju and the others, Suyu and the others' lips curled up slightly. Their eyes were filled with pride. How can you understand my master's methods? We are indeed all beast-tamers. You didn't expect this, did you? Suyu's eyes were cold. Beast-tamer King Guguju and the others looked at them with cold eyes. Humph, shameless boasting. It's just a few demonic beasts. You dare to show off your beast-taming arts in front of our beast-taming King Valley? I'm afraid your master didn't tell you that your beast-taming arts were all stolen from our beast-taming King Valley? Beast-tamer King Guguju sneered. At that time, we didn't notice her wild ambition. However, a stolen beast-taming incantation is still a stolen beast-taming incantation. What she taught you should be the 4th level of the beast-taming art, right? You think we can't do anything to you? It's a pity that we've already obtained the 5th magic incantation in the Broken Stars Valley. Idiots! Beast-tamer King Guguju sneered. Then, he suddenly raised his hand and said to Suyu and the others, "Now, I'll let you know what it means to display your slight skill in front of an expert. Give all of your demonic beasts to us." "Ha!" Beast-tamer King Guguju said and raised his hand to form a seal. In an instant, the beast mark that he was cultivating suddenly released streams of energy. Then, he waved his hands one by one and sent the beast-taming incantation towards the demonic beasts around Su Yu and the others. Chapter 2158. Come here. Following the beast-tamer King Gu Guju's shout, the rays of light from the beast mark swept into the bodies of the demonic beasts beside Su Yu and the others. This scene was not unfamiliar to Su Yu and the others. Didn't Han Dong want to use this move to forcefully take control of the lightning beast back in the far west wilderness? However, it was a pity that their beast-taming technique was nothing under the heaven and earth contract that their master had signed for them. Everyone already knew what the beast-taming King Valley's Valley Master would be facing at the end of this move, so they didn't show the slightest change in their expressions. All of them had a calm and collected look on their faces. Su Yu led them and didn't even move as they watched the beast mark energy released by the beast-tamer King Gu Guju sweep towards the contracted beasts beside them. On the contrary, the people from the Sky Yuan sect all cried out in alarm when they saw this scene. No, quickly get out of the way. This move of the beast-tamer King Gu Guju can control your contracted beasts. The people from the Sky Yuan sect were so anxious that they stomped their feet. Especially the Grand Principal. He originally wanted to go with Bai Suqing and the others to face the people from the other sects who rushed over with the beast-tamer King's Valley. When he turned around and saw this scene, he was instantly dumbfounded. Oh my God! Su Yu and the others had never fought against the people from the beast-tamer King's Valley before, so they didn't know about their ultimate move. The people from the beast-tamer King's Valley could control other people's contracted beasts. Therefore, the people from the beast-tamer King's Valley had such a high status in the hidden world. Think about it. The sects in the hidden world wanted the beast-tamer King's Valley's help to contract demonic beasts, but they couldn't use these demonic beasts to deal with the people from the beast-tamer King's Valley. Without any other choice, they could only support the people from the beast-tamer King's Valley. This also caused the people from the beast-tamer King's Valley to be arrogant and despotic in the hidden world. If people wanted to contract demonic beasts, they could only beg the beast-tamer King's Valley and couldn't pose any threat to them. How could the beast-taming King's Valley not be arrogant? When he saw that Su Yu and the others didn't know the strength of the beast-taming King's Valley and were just casually waiting for the beast-taming King Gu Guju's beast mark to come over, the Grand Supreme Dean almost fainted. No! Sigh! Su Yu! Hide! The Grand Supreme Dean stomped his feet and was about to rush back. However, before he could move, he was stopped by Su Xiaoxiao and the others. It's all right, Grand Principal. Su Yu and the others will be fine. Little Overlord Yuan said proudly. How could his boss's people be so brainless? Su Yu and the others definitely had a way to deal with beast-tamer King Gu Guju's forces. Thinking that Su Yu and the others' demonic beasts were all contracted by Luo Qingtong, the team members were very confident. Seeing them like this, the Grand Supreme Dean almost fainted. Don't know your head. If it wasn't for the fact that he was afraid that he wouldn't be able to control his strength, he would have knocked little Overlord Yuan to death. The Grand Supreme Dean jumped up and gave him a knock on the head. What do you know? The beast-taming King's Valley's control over demonic beasts. Before the Grand Supreme Dean could finish his words, his gaze swept across the scene in front of him. In an instant, his eyes bulged out. My mother. This. Chapter 2159. The beast-tamer King Gu Guju's beast mark entered the bodies of the demonic beasts beside Su Yu and the rest. However, the latter and the other demonic beasts were not affected at all. Roar! The violent roar shook the sky, but it was not because of the beast-tamer King Gu Guju's control. Instead, it was because he wanted to control them. Trash! He wanted to control them? Was he dreaming? The demonic beasts looked at him with disdain. The contract that they signed with Su Yu and the rest was a reverse contract that only divine beasts could sign with humans. In the heavens and earth, only 1 in 100 was revered. What the hell was the beast tamer King Guguju's beast mark control? The 5 beast tamer arts combined into one was just an ordinary beast tamer art practiced by the Zhuge clan. It could not even compare to the heaven and earth beast tamer art improved by Zhuge Shursan. How dare he try to take control of the contract between them and Su Yu and the rest? Who gave him the confidence? The eyes of the demonic beasts were filled with disdain and disdain. Anyone with eyes could see the blatant disdain in their eyes when they looked at the Valley Master of the Beast-Taming King Valley. Everyone from the Beast-Taming King's Valley and the other sects were dumbfounded when they saw this scene. Even the Beast-Tamer King Guguju himself was in disbelief. This is impossible. He shouted in disbelief and continued to blast the beast mark's power out of his body. The beast mark power blasted into the demonic beasts beside Su Yu and the rest. However, the latter did not care about him at all. One of the demonic beasts even raised its claws to scratch the itch on its body, then continued to watch the beast tamer King Guguju's monkey show. When the beast tamer King Guguju raised its claws, he thought that his control finally worked. Just as he was about to laugh out loud, he realized that the demonic beast was actually scratching the itch on its body. Instantly, his smile froze on his face. Ha ha ha. This time, it was the Grand Supreme Dean and the others who laughed. They looked at the beast tamer King Guguju's stiff expression and the disbelief on the faces of the beast tamer King's Valley and the other sects behind him. Their hearts were filled with satisfaction. F***ck. I didn't expect Su Yu and the others to have such a trump card. Ha ha ha. The Grand Supreme Dean was the one who laughed the loudest. That carefree laughter was about to break through the sky. Oh my god, this feels so good. Ha ha ha. Seeing the dumbfounded looks on the faces of beast tamer King Guguju and the rest, the Grand Dean felt as if he had drunk ice water during the hottest days of summer. No, that wasn't right. It was as if a bucket of ice water had been splashed onto his body in the heat of summer. Awesome. How carefree. As for Bai Suqing and the people from the Sky Yuan sect, after recovering from their initial shock, they began to laugh. Alright. The Heaven Yuan sect master could not help but yell. The group of Heavenly Yuan sect elders beside him also smiled as if a heavy burden had been lifted from their shoulders. Su Yu and the others' demonic beasts were able to resist the plundering of the beast tamer King's Valley. To them, this was great news. With the demonic beasts around, they could hold on for a little longer. As long as they could hold on until Luo Qingtong successfully formed a contract, then beast tamer King Guguju and the others would be in big trouble. Speaking of which, Luo Qingtong, this young lady, was really mysterious. Chapter 2160. The people of the beast-taming King's Valley ran amok in the hidden world. Their beast-taming technique made many sects and experts in the hidden world fear them. But who would have thought that the beast-taming King Guguju's beast-taming technique would not be able to deal with Su Yu and the others? Even her subordinates were trained so well. Luo Qingtong. What kind of person was she? Even in heaven and earth, they had never seen a girl as outstanding as Luo Qingtong, who made them gasp in amazement. Although the other party's strength was not as strong as theirs. However, his methods were truly impressive. At this time, the group of Sky Yuan sect people realized that the people of beast-taming King's Valley and Celestial Palace had been fooled by Luo Qingtong. It was not because they were too stupid. It was because Luo Qingtong was too strong. As for the elite disciples and protectors of the Sky Yuan sect, they were extremely excited. Did you see that? Ha! The people of beast-taming King's Valley are like fools. Ha, yes. We will definitely be able to resist them this time. As long as Miss Luo can successfully break through the contract, these people are nothing to be afraid of. The group of people had long been convinced by Luo Qingtong. Even the way they addressed Luo Qingtong had changed to Miss Luo. If it was said that Luo Qingtong had received the honorary guest elder token before, they had doubted it and were unconvinced. But now, after Luo Qingtong's methods, their reverence for the girl was indescribable. If it were not for the girl's arrangements for Su Yu and the others, the group of Sky Yuan sect people would have suffered heavy losses in the forbidden area. Previously, they thought that Luo Qingtong had asked them to help take care of Su Yu and the others because she wanted to drag them down and take advantage of them. But in the end, it was proven that if it were not for Su Yu and the others by their side, they would have died many times in the forbidden area. Luo Qingtong did not take advantage of them. Instead, they relied on Luo Qingtong's arrangements for Su Yu and the others to survive until now. The group of people who had previously cheered with Chen Tong and the others and had dark thoughts in their hearts were now filled with regret and guilt. Fortunately, Chen Tong was already dead. Otherwise, they were afraid that they would have to go through another torture that was worse than death. While the people of Sky Yuan sect were happy, the beast-taming King's Valley and the other sects' faces were unsightly. Especially those people from the other sects. But soon, the group of people denied their own thoughts. The people of beast-taming King's Valley could steal other people's contracted beasts. This was not a rumor, it was witnessed by many people. It could not be fake. Then there was only one possibility. The beast-taming art that Luo Qingtong and the others cultivated was actually better than the people of beast-taming King's Valley. The group of people felt that it was inconceivable. But the truth was in front of them. They had no choice but to believe it. That Luo Qingtong's ability was actually so powerful. First, she could let her people walk freely in the forbidden area. Now, she could let them have the ability to contract beasts. Chapter 2161. That was the beast-tamer King Guguju. In the beast-tamer King Valley, he was the one with the strongest beast-taming ability and the highest level. Su Yu and the rest could resist his plundering. How strong was the beast-taming technique that Luo Qingtong taught them? The group of people did not forget what the beast-tamer King Guguju had said before. Their beast-taming technique had been completed, and their strength and power were more than twice as strong as before. Under such circumstances, the beast-taming technique that Luo Qingtong taught Su Yu and the rest could resist his plundering. The significance of this was simply terrifying. The group of people shuddered in their hearts as they thought about it. They began to wonder if they had made the wrong choice. After all, if the ability of Su Yu and the rest to walk in the forbidden area came from the treasure map that Luo Qingtong obtained, then where did the contract technique that she taught them come from? The young girl's ability was so strong. If they could not kill her here, what kind of terrible situation would they face in the future? The group of people thought, and their hearts grew colder and colder. They looked at Luo Qingtong with more and more fear in their eyes. Some people were even thinking if they should take advantage of the fact that they had not made a big mistake and turn the tables. However, just as they were thinking this, the beast-tamer King Guguju's words had already shattered their fantasy. Humph, stop dreaming. I advise you to properly deal with them with us. Killing Luo Qingtong and blocking her path to contract is the right thing to do. Otherwise, do you think she will let you go? You already have the intention to kill her. Moreover, you have already boarded the ship of our beast-tamer King Valley. Do you think it will be so easy to get off? You don't want to cooperate with us? Then we, the people of the beast-tamer King Valley, can only drag you down with us. The beast-tamer King Guguju's face was sinister. Before this, he had never thought that Su Yu and the rest would have such a trick up their sleeves. Luo Qingtong, that bitch, had too many tricks up her sleeves. She had actually set up layers upon layers of traps on her subordinates. But so what? Just a bunch of demonic beasts. In terms of strength and numbers, they had the advantage in numbers. Now that everyone from these sects had boarded his pirate ship, it was impossible for them to get off. He could only fight alongside them to kill Luo Qingtong. He did not believe that the people from the Heavenly Yuan sect could withstand it. Hearing this, the expressions of the people from the other sects changed. They looked at Beast Tamer King Gu Guzhu and the others. The latter and the others had ferocious looks on their faces as they surrounded them. Obviously, as long as the people from the various sects dared to make a move, they would immediately launch an attack. If they died, the people from the other sects would not be able to live either. Such a method of mutual destruction instantly caused the people from the various sects present to suck in a deep breath. Only now did they know what it meant to ask a tiger for its skin. Now that they had boarded the pirate ship of the Beast Tamer King Valley, they could only deal with Luo Qingtong and the rest with them. Otherwise, the people from the Beast Tamer King Valley would drag them down with them even if they died. Thinking of this, the crowd suddenly had no other ideas and could only continue to charge towards Su Yu and the others. After a brief moment of pleasure, Su Yu's group and the people from the Heavenly Run sect waited for their arrival with rapt attention. Chapter 2162. Protect Master. Su Yu's face had always been very calm. Except for the pride in Luo Qingtong shown on her face when she was defeated by Gu Guzhu, the Beast Tamer King. She didn't reveal any other emotions on her face. She was the leader of the Heavenly Diabolism. She was appointed by Master to take charge of the Heavenly Diabolism. The girl rescued her from the slave market, gave her freedom, dignity, and growth. Her only hope in this life was to become an indestructible shield in front of Luo Qingtong, a sword that could break through anything. At this moment, it was time for them to protect their master and kill everything for their master. Fight! Fight! As Su Yu's voice sounded, the people of the Heavenly Diabolism behind her also jumped onto their contracted beasts. They looked at the people of the Heavenly Diabolism and the Beast Tamer King Gu Guzhu, who were charging at them with determination and coldness. Kill! Not far from them, Su Xiaoxiao, Little Overlord Yuan, and the others were also ready. They were not as strong as the people of the Heavenly Diabolism. Their individual strength was far less powerful than the people of the Heavenly Diabolism's formation. They guarded Luo Qingtong with cold eyes, as the last line of defense in front of her. If the people of the Heavenly Diabolism were killed, the people of the Tianyuan sect would all die. Then it would be their turn to die for Luo Qingtong. Buzz! Su Xiaoxiao closed her eyes tightly. Her long hair was flying. The girl's timid and delicate face was full of cold determination at this moment. After so many experiences, Su Xiaoxiao changed from a little rabbit who cried easily with tears in her eyes to a strong and cold girl in battle. When it came to anything related to Luo Qingtong, all her timidity and delicateness no longer existed. "Boss, I said I would be your personal combat alchemist," she murmured in a low voice. His entire perception spread out in an instant. Su Xiaoxiao's talent in alchemy was truly unique. Her medicine refining skill was slow and time-consuming, and the effect was not good. However, she had one thing that no alchemist, not even alchemist, possessed. That was his powerful perception. She was able to mix any element in the world and superimpose its medicinal properties. At this moment, she was trying to fuse and break down the spiritual qi and elements in the air of this forbidden zone. Aside from Luo Qingtong, no one else in this world could compare to her innate talent in alchemy. Su Xiaoxiao's hands kept dancing in a dazzling manner. She was going to use the spiritual qi of heaven and earth in this forbidden area to combine and develop a unique medicinal liquid. This medicinal liquid was guided by the power of the mythological beasts and fused with the spirit qi light pillar that plunged down from the sky. The power of the combined medicinal liquid was something that even Su Xiaoxiao, the person who refined this medicinal liquid, couldn't control and unravel. At that time, she and everyone around her would all die. This medicinal liquid was the last line of defense that Su Xiaoxiao was protecting for Luo Qingtong. Beside her, Ling Tianhan, Little Tyrant Yuan, Sima Zhu, and the others also displayed their strongest and most forbidden abilities. Ling Tianhan's left and right hand swords, as well as the mother and son swords, were all ready. He was a natural sword son, and his ability to control the sword was unparalleled. He didn't feel his talent before. Chapter 2163. Until now, he had already used the mother-child double swords that Luo Qingtong had made for him. He was very familiar with them, as if they were his own arms. And Sima Zhu released all the power of his body of all poisons. In an instant, his entire body became as black as Chenemo. Even Sima Zhu himself would suffer from this kind of black. But the young man just glanced at his body coldly, and then fiercely swallowed back the blood in his mouth. Yuan Little Tyrant activated the petrification soul seal in his body to the extreme. He had always listened to Luo Qingtong and used his petrification soul seal to the extreme, constantly switching between extreme softness and extreme hardness. This time, he went against Luo Qingtong's teachings and activated his petrification soul seal to the extreme. "Boss, you said that my petrification soul seal is at the extreme, and it can be easily smashed into powder by a punch. Why don't I use the combination of hardness and softness to trap the ground?" But, the smile on his lips was careless, and he still looked silly. But he said with a smile, "If you want to use hardness and softness, you have to retreat and disperse the force. I won't retreat this time. Damn it, without boss, what's the point of living? Trap my ass. I'm going to fight with them. Let them know how powerful I, Yuan Little Tyrant, am. Damn it, it's not easy for me to improve my strength. I haven't had time to show off to boss. It's ruined by these bastards. Forget it, if there's a next life, I'll reincarnate into a better soul seal. Boss, don't despise me in the future. Otherwise, I'll hug your leg and cry for you to see." As he said, he suddenly grinned. Ling Tianchen, Ling Yu, and the others behind him didn't say anything. They just silently took out their weapons and stood behind him unswervingly. Kill. The people of the Sky Yuan sect stood together with Su Yu and the others. They were also ready for battle. The Grand Supreme Dean looked at the direction where the beast tamer King Gu Guzhu and the others were coming from. He then looked at Bai Suqing and said, "Hey, Qing, if we don't die this time, let's go back and get married, okay? When the time comes, I want you to marry me grandly. Then, we'll have another chubby boy. Let that girl, Luo Qingtong, be his godmother. That way, we won't have to worry about our son not having anything good. That girl definitely won't be so stingy." When Bai Suqing heard his words, her heart skipped a beat. She rolled her eyes at him and said, "Dream on." Letting his student be his son's godmother, only he could think of such a thing. However, as Bai Suqing said those words, she turned around and tears filled her eyes. If she could return alive, of course she was willing. But what he was afraid of was that, he couldn't. While the Grand Supreme Dean and Bai Suqing were talking, Beast Tamer King Gu Guzhu and the others were already very close to the Sky Yuan Sect's group. Kill. Beast Tamer King Gu Guzhu's face was cold. He stared fiercely in the direction where Luo Qingtong was. At this moment, the huge ball of light beside the young girl had already spread to almost half of the blood-red veins. Her strength had also increased to the middle stage divine spirit realm. This kind of speed of improvement was really too shocking. He couldn't let that B*TCH continue to improve. Boom! The two sides collided heavily. In an instant, the color of the sky changed abruptly and there was an unusually strong and intense fluctuation of energy. The battle had begun. Chapter 2164. Rumble. The entire world changed color. In the center of the forbidden zone, countless amounts of heaven and earth spirit chi surged, colliding rapidly with each other like raging waves. This kind of collision was extremely violent, and those who heard it from afar were extremely shocked. Outside the land of the fallen immortals, even though they were quite a distance away, Beiqing, Fengyu, and the others could still hear the violent collision coming from inside. Looking from where they were, the huge spirit chi whirlpool had been spreading out from the center of the forbidden zone. That was not the place where the spirit chi hurricane poured in when the sector beast was born. Obviously, because of the existence of the sector beast, the sects there had already started fighting. That evil doctor, everyone couldn't help but look at Yi Qianxian. The latter's eyes were fixed on the center of the land of the fallen immortals. His hands, which were hidden in his sleeves, clenched and unclenched again and again. Yi Qianxian's eyes were cold, but his feet, which were standing on the mountain peak, didn't even take a step forward. He had promised Luo Qingtong that he would wait for her to come back. His Qingtong was a phoenix soaring in the sky, the most beautiful in the world. She wasn't the canary that he held in his palm. When the girl was extremely weak, she was able to escape from his hands again and again. He didn't believe in her. He didn't believe in himself. He couldn't destroy Luo Qingtong. The girl's experience didn't need his intervention. He couldn't stop her transformation. Yi Qianxian put his hands behind his back and kept rubbing the Shifang dragon ring on the ring finger of his left hand. The gloomy black light on it continued to flicker. The light in Yi Qianxian's eyes was extremely dark. The viciousness and coldness within it continued to rise and be suppressed. As the ruler of a region, he had never restrained himself like this before. In the past, he could be angry and happy whenever he wanted. But that woman was really his nemesis. Yi Qianxian looked in the direction of the land of the fallen immortals and slowly closed his eyes, feeling the torment of not being able to make a move. He could feel that Luo Qingtong was going through a very important transformation. Once he made a move, he would destroy the land of the fallen immortals and this transformation. Yi Qianxian's eyes were cold as he suppressed the bloodthirst in his heart. While his heart was cold, the Star Alliance Palace Master, who was not far from the land of the fallen immortals, was extremely surprised. Good. Good. Fighting in the center of the forbidden zone, which means they're inside? Someone can get that sector beast? He was very expectant. All the experts from the Star Alliance Branch Palace had been mobilized by him, of the Immortals, of the Alliance of the Fallen Immortals, the Immortals. At that time, that once-in-a-lifetime treasure would be his. Thinking that he might be able to get the sector beast that so many strong people in the Star Fields wanted, the Palace Master of the Star Alliance Palace Master was extremely excited. He finally felt that being banished to this remote and low-level continent wasn't a bad thing. At least, if he stayed in those high-level continents, or even in the Star Alliance, he wouldn't even be able to see the sector beast. Not to mention obtaining the other party. Thinking of this, he was very proud. Chapter 2165. Oh my God. I really wish I could grow 8 legs at this time. Damn it. Little Pig was anxious as he listened to the spiritual energy fluctuations and sounds coming from the center of the forbidden zone. If it weren't for the fact that Luo Qingtong's blood had been unsealed and that this was the land of the fallen immortals, he couldn't ruin Luo Qingtong's chance of obtaining the sector beast. Did he have to be so aggrieved? If he transformed into his original form, he could just kill her with one claw. Anyway, he had already unsealed one claw. If Grandpa Pig didn't show his power, did they really think he was a pushover? Little Pig's heart was full of depression. Yunxi could also feel the waves of spiritual energy that were constantly coming from the front. She frowned when she sensed the beast mark fluctuations of the Beast Tamer King, Guguju, and the others. The Beast Tamer King, Guguju, and the others were also there. It seemed that their worries were true. Most of the people from the sects in the hidden world had run to the center of the forbidden zone. She didn't know how Luo Qingtong was doing. However, judging from this large-scale collision, the possibility of Luo Qingtong making a move was very small. Otherwise, with her ability, the demonic beasts on the side of the beast tamer king, Gu Guzhu, would have already turned on her. Thinking about it, was she already in the contract? Yun Shi lived in the cracks of the Yun family all year round, so she was very sensitive and meticulous. She sensed the energy fluctuations in front of her and had already guessed the situation. Thinking of this, she suddenly stopped in her tracks. "I won't go over," she said to Little Pig. "I'll stay here and lure all the demonic beasts controlled by the people of the Beast Tamer King's Valley here. You take the Een corpse there." The Een corpse Yun Shi mentioned was naturally the corpse puppet of the great Yong saint. Little Pig was a little angry when he heard her stop, but after hearing her words, he suddenly understood. "Okay, you stay here." Luring the demonic beasts of the Beast Tamer King's Valley here was better than Yun Shi going over there and seizing control of them one by one. After all, it wasn't necessarily urgent. Secondly, the Beast Tamer King, Gu Guzhu, and the others weren't to be trifled with. They had cultivated the beast taming art for so many years. How powerful were they? Although the power of Zhuge Shursan's beast mark that Yun Shi had inherited was powerful, she could only exert a part of it. How much time would it waste just by relying on level suppression? But now, time was life. "Are you confident?" Little Pig asked worriedly. There was still quite a distance between here and there. "Yes." Yun Shi nodded. In the beast mark that Zhuge Shursan had passed down to her, there was a method that could only be performed by the direct descendants of the Zhuge family. It was a method to urgently recall all the demonic beasts that could be controlled. It was used when the Zhuge family was in danger. Although Yun Shi was not a member of the Zhuge family, she had inherited Zhuge Shursan's beast mark. Zhuge Shursan was a direct descendant of the Zhuge family. If Yun Shi used his beast mark inheritance to perform this move, there would be no problem at all. However, this meant that her beast mark inheritance would be wasted for at least a year, and she wouldn't be able to use it again. But for the sake of Luo Qingtong, it didn't matter. Yun Shi was grateful to Luo Qingtong, so she didn't mind losing a year of time. Moreover, if it weren't for Luo Qingtong's help, she wouldn't even have this inheritance, so how could it be wasted? The more Yun Shi understood the power of this beast mark inheritance, the more grateful she was to Luo Qingtong. Not to mention that Luo Qingtong had saved her and solved all her crises. Thinking that she could go back and take over the Yun family after she got out of here and free her mother, who had been enduring hardships for her, Yun Shi felt very happy and elated. Chapter 2166. Okay. Little Pig didn't know the details and thought it was a simple matter. He nodded and said, "Okay, then hurry up. I'll bring this guy over first." As he spoke, he continued to rush forward with the great Yong Saint corpse puppet. At this moment, in the center of the forbidden zone. Rumble. Violent sounds mixed with violent fluctuations of aura surged within. The air was filled with violently fluctuating spiritual energy. The surrounding spiritual energy fluctuations were stirred to the extreme, forming tornado-like hurricanes in the air. Rumble. The violent sounds of collision stirred up tens of thousands of waves. In just an instant, the people on Gu Guzhu's side and the people on the Sky Yuan Sect side all let out a muffled groan. In the face of the violent collision, the violent sounds and energy fluctuations that could destroy the heavens and the earth, those who were slightly weaker would be sent flying while vomiting blood. The Sky Yuan Sect's master and the others were already desperately resisting. However, in terms of the number of experts, they were much less than Gu Guzhu's side. Not to mention, the strength of the experts in the beast-taming valley was equivalent to the strength of 2 first-rate sect experts. The other first-rate, second-, and third-rate sects had gathered. Their combined strength was not to be underestimated. The Sky Yuan sect was already one of the stronger first-rate sects below the beast-taming valley. The other first-rate sects were not as strong as them. After that, Luo Qingtong provided them with the energy to purify the immortal jade bone. Everyone's strength had increased by a lot. However, in the end, they couldn't defeat the combined strength of so many people. Those people from the other sections. Because of Gu Guzhu's words, they knew that they had no way out. If the people of the Sky Yuan sect didn't die, they would be dragged down with the beast-taming valley. Immediately, they didn't hesitate or hold back. Everyone attacked with all their might. Rumble. Even if the people of the Sky Yuan sect tried their best to resist, they were still sent flying while vomiting blood. As for the beast-taming King Gu Guzhu and the others, they brought their contracted beasts and faced off against Su Yu's group. Humph. A grain of rice dares to compete with the sun and moon. The strength of the demonic beasts under you is not bad. That bitch, Luo Qingtong, is also willing to work on you guys. Beast Tamer King Gu Guzhu's gaze swept past Su Yu and the others like a snake. His gaze was extremely cold. Luo Qingtong, that bitch, even gave such a precious beast-taming method to the people around her. She had never lacked beast-taming techniques. The beast-taming talent and strength he had displayed back in beast-taming King Valley was real. How hateful. She had always been playing them in the palm of her hand. She wanted them to think that she was deliberately mystifying herself in order to sneak into the beast-taming King Valley. What was more infuriating was that bitch had such powerful beast-taming incantations, yet she still tried to rob them of their legacies in the Shattered Star Valley. It was simply hateful to the extreme. B*TCH. It was no wonder that she had passed down the beast mark to the weak girl beside her without any hesitation. It turned out that she didn't care about this beast-taming inheritance at all. When the beast-tamer King Gu Guzhu and the others thought of this, they were so angry that the veins on their foreheads bulged. Chapter 2167. That's right. So what if Su Yu's ability to control demonic beasts was better than theirs? So what if their compatibility with demonic beasts was higher than theirs? So what if the increase in strength was greater than theirs? The beast-tamer King Gu Guzhu sneered. Su Yu's growth time was too short. It was so short that it was impossible for them to compete with him and the others. It wasn't a competition of beast-taming ability or demonic beast strength. It wasn't a competition of compatibility or increase in strength. They could forcefully ignore all these disadvantages and crush Su Yu's group with their holy venerate strength alone. So what if the other party's beast-taming ability was stronger? 1 plus 1 might not be greater than 2, but what about 1 plus 3? What about 4? The coldness in the depths of the beast-taming King Valley's Valley Master's eyes reached the extreme. Charge! Break through their defense line surrounding Luo Qingtong. He must kill Luo Qingtong. Boom! The beast-tamer King Gu Guzhu's roar rang out. In an instant, he and the people from the beast-tamer valley beside him rode on their respective demonic beasts and charged towards Su Yu's group behind the Sky Yuan sect's defense line that was torn open by the people from the other sections. Su Yu. The Grand Supreme Dean fiercely wiped the blood on his face and wanted to return to defend with the people from the Sky Yuan sect to stop the beast-tamer King Gu Guzhu's group. However, the people from the other sects were stubbornly holding them back. A group of first-rate and second-rate sect leaders and elders attacked the Sky Yuan sect's sect master and the others with all their might. They were stubbornly holding back the Sky Yuan sect's sect master and the others. They didn't let them return to defend and help Su Yu's group. These people from the other sects had already formed a blood feud with the Sky Yuan sect's Su Yu's group. Naturally, they couldn't let the latter and the others ruin the plans of the beast-tamer King Gu Guzhu's group. After all, with the various abilities displayed by Luo Qingtong, if the other party didn't die, it would be them and the people from the Beast Tamer Valley's turn to die. With such thoughts in mind, how could they dare to hold back? At that moment, he really used all his strength. Even if he couldn't kill the Heaven Branch Sect Master and the others, he couldn't let them obstruct Beast Tamer King Guguju and the others from killing Luo Qingtong. The Tian Yuan Sect Master and the others did not even have the chance to turn back as they were held back by them. There weren't many people left on their side. Once they were killed, these sects would be able to join forces with the Beast Taming King's Valley to deal with Su Yu's group. As a result, the Sect Master and the others could only remain in a stalemate with the people from the other sections. They did not have the strength to assist Su Yu and the others. Seeing Beast Tamer King Guguju and the others rushing over, Su Yu and the others gripped their weapons tightly. Fight to the death. Don't retreat. As Su Yu's cold voice sounded, everyone waved their weapons in unison. With a boom, they urged their demonic beasts to charge towards Beast Tamer King Guguju and the others. Beast Tamer King Guguju was right. Su Yu and the others' beast taming techniques were more advanced than theirs. Their beast taming skills were stronger than theirs. If they were at the same level, they could completely crush Beast Tamer King Guguju and the others. However, they had not had enough time to grow. Their current strength was not enough to deal with Beast Tamer King Guguju and the others. But so what? As long as one of them was here, Beast Tamer King Guguju and the others would not be able to take another step forward. Even if their swords and halberds were broken and their shields destroyed, they would not retreat even half a step. Because what they were protecting behind them was something more important than their lives. Roar! Chapter 2168. Beast Tamer King Guguju and the others clashed with Su Yu and the others. The golden-winged great condors beneath them weren't willing to submit. Even though the fifth part of the beast-taming incantation had completely suppressed the clarity in their eyes, the depths of their souls were still subconsciously resisting the beast-taming King Valley's Valley Master and the others. They weren't able to fully cooperate with them. Facing the power of the heaven and earth contract emitted by Su Yu and the others, they subconsciously became restless and wanted to retreat. However, they were forcibly suppressed by Beast Tamer King Guguju and the others. Kill! Beast Tamer King Guguju and the others fiercely suppressed the golden-winged condors and the others' thoughts of resisting and retreating because of the heaven and earth contract. They forcibly suppressed them with their own strength. Then, they heavily clashed with Su Yu and the others. Pfft! Su Yu and the others spat out a mouthful of blood. They were instantly sent flying by the violent and terrifying power around Beast Tamer King Guguju and the others. The terrifying power that belonged to the Holy Venerate realm completely ignored the cooperation between Su Yu and the others and the contracted beasts. It forcefully mixed with the unwilling power of the golden-winged condors and violently blasted towards Su Yu and the others. Su Yu! Everyone from the heavenly diabolism. Little Tyrant Yuan and the others at the back watched with red eyes. However, they were the last line of defense around Luo Qingtong. They could not leave. They watched as Su Yu and the others spat out blood because of the huge difference in strength. Little Tyrant Yuan and the others fiercely clenched their fingers. Bastard! Little Tyrant Yuan's eyes were blood-red. His eyes were as round as copper bells. Behind him, Su Xiaofan fiercely clenched the medicinal liquid in her hand that had already formed. Her face was pale. If Su Yu and the others could not stop them, then they would be the last line of defense around Luo Qingtong. Would his concoction be able to stop the beast-taming King Valley's Valley Master and the others? And even if it could, what about the people from the other sects? Boss, you have to quickly succeed in breaking through the contract. It doesn't matter if we die, but you have to live. As she thought, she could not help but look back at Luo Qingtong. The blood-red patterns on the ball of light around the ladder had already spread by more than half. Her strength had also broken through to the peak of the Holy Spirit realm. Soon. Soon. Boss, you can do it. Su Xiaoxiao looked at Luo Qingtong, crying and laughing. Beast Tamer King Gu Guzhu and the others spat out blood and the others. And Beast Tamer King Forced and the others and Condors and spat out blood, and the others spat out blood and retreating and the others and the. Didn't Luo Qingtong love her subordinates? There, and the of them. Of use beasts, and many layers as sets lins. If they guessed correctly, these people must have followed Luo Qingtong from the secular world. At first, they thought it was just a fake identity that Luo Qingtong used to sneak into the Sky Yuan sect and did not pay much attention to it. After all, the girl's ability was so varied and extraordinary. How could she be from a barren place like the secular world? However, this depended on the relationship between the Sky Yuan sect and Luo Qingtong. This identity was probably not far from the truth. Then, to be able to come here from the secular world with Luo Qingtong and increase their strength so much. How much effort did that bitch Luo Qingtong spend on them? If they killed them, that bitch Luo Qingtong would definitely be heartbroken, right? Beast Tamer King Gu Guzhu and the others thought. They suddenly sneered and raised their hands. Chapter 2169. Boom! The golden-winged eagles under them suddenly froze. Bang! Before the beast tamer King Gu Guzhu and the others could react, in an instant, the golden-winged eagles and other beasts under them suddenly lifted up and broke free from their bodies. Then, as if they had been summoned by something, they gathered together and rushed toward the back. Bastards! What are you doing? Come back! The beast tamer King Gu Guzhu and the others were caught off guard. They were almost thrown to the ground by the golden-winged eagles and the others. Naturally, there was no way to launch the attack that had locked onto Su Yu and the others. They looked angrily at the backs of the golden-winged eagles and the others as they left. They raised their hands and made seals to summon them back to suppress them again. However, what they didn't expect was that their summons and suppression were ineffective. The golden-winged eagles and the others completely ignored their summons and suppression. What was going on? They were their contracted beasts. Under their strong suppression, what other choice did they have other than to obey orders? What was going on? While the beast tamer King Gu Guzhu and the others were indescribably flustered and exasperated, outside the center of the forbidden zone, Yun Shi stood in the open space. Under her feet was a huge array that she had drawn with her own blood. Standing on this array, she pressed a drop of her heart's blood onto her forehead. In an instant, she completely activated the power of the beast mark of Zhuge 13 in her body. Using the secret method of the Zhuge family, she summoned the golden-winged eagles and the others. This kind of summoning was only temporary. When the power of the beast mark of inheritance in Yun Shi's body was exhausted, the golden-winged eagles and the others would be controlled by the beast tamer King Gu Guzhu and the others again. But even so, being able to buy a little time was already a great help to Su Yu and the others. Because of the change in the golden-winged eagles and the others, the beast tamer King Gu Guzhu and the others panicked and didn't have time to deal with Su Yu and the others. Soon, the latter and the others regained their senses. Fiercely wiping away the blood at the corner of his mouth, Su Yu looked at the beast tamer King Gu Guzhu and the others with a wolf-like arrogance and ruthlessness. It was a vicious gaze that said that even if he had to die, he would still ruthlessly bite off a piece of the other party's flesh. Su Yu used to be such a wolf-like person. However, back then, the wolf had met someone worthy of loyalty and received the other party's love and respect. Therefore, it restrained its wolf nature slightly when it was beside the girl. But now, behind her was the person she swore to protect. Her wolf nature was completely unleashed. Stop them. Seeing that the beast tamer King Gu Guzhu and the others had failed to summon and were about to rush forward to stop the golden-winged condor and the other beasts, Su Yu gave this order almost instantly without hesitation. She didn't know why these beasts retreated in an instant and completely ignored the orders of the beast tamer King Guguju and the others. However, this didn't prevent Suyu from judging in an instant what was best and most beneficial for them. Boom! The beast tamer King Guguju and the others were blocked by Suyu and the others in an instant, causing them to miss the best opportunity to stop the golden-winged condor and the others from leaving. Chapter 2170. In the end, they even injured a lot of people from other sects who tried to stop them and left the center of the forbidden area. Beast tamer King Guguju and the others were furious. Bastards! You're all courting death. The golden-winged condor and the others were already far away from the center of the forbidden area. It was impossible to find them again. Beast tamer King Guguju and the others were furious. They raised their hands and sent Suyu and the others flying along with their demonic beasts. Bastards! You bunch of trash are really as disgusting as that bitch Luo Qingtong. Do you think you can stop us from killing that bitch Luo Qingtong? Let me tell you, even without the golden-winged condor and the others, you still can't stop us. All of you, get out of here. Beast tamer King Guguju's face was full of hostility. The successive defeats, especially when facing Suyu and the others, made his heart irritable to the extreme. It was fine if they couldn't deal with that bitch Luo Qingtong. Who were Suyu and the others? Did they have the right to stop them? Beast tamer King Guguju and the others were furious. The attacks in their hands were extremely violent as they blasted towards Suyu and the others. The latter and the others had already suffered heavy injuries when they were controlling the golden-winged condor and the others. At this moment, under the attacks of beast tamer King Guguju and the others, even with the demonic beasts under them helping to block some of the attacks, the terrifying power still sent them flying and vomiting blood. Cough cough, puff. Suyu and the others coughed violently and fell to the ground. They spat out a mouthful of blood, but they still supported their demonic beasts and stood up with all their might. They said that unless they died, they wouldn't let the people of Beast Tamer King's Valley take a step forward. Unless they stepped on their corpses, the people of Beast Tamer King's Valley wouldn't be able to harm Luo Qingtong. Continue. Suyu looked coldly in the direction of Beast Tamer King Guguju and the others. The gazes of the latter and the others were filled with ferocity and malice. A bunch of bastards. The Beast Tamer King Guguju's voice was cold. Since you want to die for that bitch, Luo Qingtong, then die. As Beast Tamer King Guguju and the others spoke, they once again launched attacks at Suyu and the others. Boom boom boom. The violent and terrifying power of a paragon venerate suddenly blasted towards Suyu and the others. At this moment, Suyu and the others had just gotten up from the ground. They hadn't even stabilized themselves yet. Suyu. The eyes of little Overlord Yuan and the others instantly turned red when they saw that the attacks were about to land on Suyu and the others. The Grand Supreme Dean and the others also saw this scene at this moment. They desperately tried to rush over. But they couldn't. They were completely surrounded by the people of the other sections. The latter and the others blocked their way, not allowing them to move even a little bit, let alone support Suyu and the others. Seeing that the attacks were about to drown Suyu and the others, the people of the Heavenly Yuan sect were instantly filled with grief. Suyu. Once Suyu and the others fell, only little Overlord Yuan and the others would be left to protect Luo Qingtong. The consequences would be unimaginable. Everyone was filled with despair as they thought about it. At this moment, boom. Chapter 2171. The violent attacks from the beast-taming King Valley's Valley Master and the others were all blocked by that person. The latter's figure kept retreating, but the berserk attacks did not send it flying. What? Seeing this scene, the pupils of Guguju and the others shrank fiercely. At this moment, a voice suddenly rang out. Ah! Hurry, hurry, hurry. We finally made it. Little Pig stood on top of the great young saint's corpse puppet and sighed with emotion. We finally made it. Oh my God. It's 4 little hooves, yo. They're almost bald from running. Beat them up. Little Pig lifted his short and fat front hooves and pointed at Guguju and the others. After receiving Little Pig's order, the great young saint corpse puppet instantly rushed toward Guguju and the others. Its strength had already reached the holy venerable realm. Although it had suffered a lot of injuries from the attacks of Guguju and the others, it was still a holy venerable. But it was a corpse puppet. It was not afraid of pain or injuries. Unless its core was completely destroyed, it would not be able to exert its strength even if its limbs were broken. At this moment, it suddenly rushed toward Guguju and the others, turning the tables on Suyu and the others. After all, although Guguju and the others had the advantage in numbers, they were all powerful. But the great young saint corpse puppet alone was enough to restrain them all. In addition, Suyu and the others attacked and harassed them. In an instant, Guguju and the others felt as if they had fallen into a swamp and could not move a single step. Bastard! Seeing their attacks being blocked by the great young saint corpse puppet again and again, the latter was not afraid of pain or injuries, and its strength did not show any signs of weakening. Guguju and the others were furious. The beast-taming King Valley Master's heart was filled with rage. He recognized the great young saint corpse puppet. Wasn't it the Een corpse that had been guarding Luo Qingtong in the cave in Shattered Star Valley? Because of its existence, Guguju and the others' attacks were blocked several times. Otherwise, even if Luo Qingtong could escape from them, she would have to pay a price. Previously, they did not see it clearly, but later on, from its injuries, they realized it was a Een corpse. When they thought of how Luo Qingtong could control Een corpses, their hearts trembled for a long time. Now, not only did the Een corpse not die, but its strength also reached the holy venerable realm. Luo Qingtong, that bitch, had a great opportunity after the cave collapse. That must be it. Then, did that mean that the weak woman beside her didn't die either? Thinking up to this point, the beast-taming King Valley Master finally knew where their contracted beasts went. It must be the girl who had inherited the beast mark and summoned them away. The other party's beast mark was of a higher level than theirs, and her beast-taming technique was stronger than theirs. Naturally, she could easily summon their contracted beasts away. Damn it! Why did that bitch Luo Qingtong have so many trump cards by her side? Thinking of this, Guguju's heart was about to explode. He looked in the direction of Luo Qingtong. He saw that the girl's strength had already reached the holy venerable realm, and the blood-red pattern on the light ball beside her had already spread more than half. If this continued, she would succeed. No! He must not let her succeed. Chapter 2172. He grabbed an elder of the beast-taming King Valley and stuffed something into the elder's mouth before he could react. The elder of the beast-taming King Valley was forced to swallow the food in his mouth before he knew what was going on. Valley Master? He looked at the beast-tamer King Guguju and his expression changed. Valley Master. You. What did you feed me? Ah. As soon as the words left his mouth, his expression became incomparably ferocious and pained. Pft pft pft. A series of growling sounds came from his body. Then, countless tentacle-like things sprouted from the elder's body. Rows of spikes protruded from his back. Ah, roar! His voice was sharp and miserable. Then, it suddenly turned into a roar like that of a wild beast. This elder of the beast-taming King Valley had mutated. It's the immortal Jade Bone. It's the immortal Jade Bone. The other higher-ups of the beast-taming King Valley turned pale when they saw the change in the elder's body. They were all too familiar with his appearance. Didn't those demonic beasts that had swallowed the immortal jade bones become like this, neither human nor ghost? Valley Master. They looked at the beast-tamer King Guguju in shock. Even Elder Dark and the others turned to look at the beast-taming King Valley Master. Was he crazy? Why would he attack his own people at this time? However, the beast-taming King Valley Master's words caused their expressions to turn serious. Luo Qingtong, that bitch, is about to complete her contract breakthrough. If we don't stop her, we might all die here. Are you willing to let a portion of us die here, or are you willing to let all of us die here? As he spoke, he tossed the beast-taming King Valley Elder towards Su Yu and the others. Seeing his actions, Elder Dark and the others instantly understood what he was thinking. It turned out that Guguju wanted to use a portion of them to stop Su Yu and the rest, or rather, to stop the corpse puppet from Great Yong. After mutating, the beast-tamer Valley Elder went berserk and began to wreak havoc in the middle of Su Yu and the rest. He directly pounced towards the corpse puppet that posed the greatest threat to him. Eldarin and the rest were speechless. On the other hand, the expressions of the weakest elders in the beast-taming King Valley changed drastically. This was because the few of them were clearly the best candidates to be sacrificed. Valley Master. Eldarin, don't. Ah. The weakest elders of the beast-taming King Valley didn't even have the chance to escape before they were captured by the Valley Master. After feeding them a large amount of immortal jade bones, they were thrown to Su Yu and the others. After being fed with the immortal jade bones, the mutated elders had lost all rationality and were only acting on instinct. Their strength had increased greatly, almost breaking through to the venerable realm. They all rushed towards Su Yu and the rest. This was because their instinct was to attack everyone in the vicinity. Among them, the corpse puppet that posed the greatest threat was the Great Yong Saint. Without any hesitation, they charged towards the Great Yong Saint corpse puppet. Roar! Chapter 2173. Beast-tamer King Guguju and the others gave a sinister smile when they saw this. They looked in Luo Qingtong's direction and sneered, "Slut, let's see what method you have to stop us now." The Yin corpse was already pinned down by them. In this kind of situation, Su Yu's group and the people around her had no way of stopping them. Luo Qingtong, that slut, was dead for sure. Without any hesitation, Beast-tamer King Guguju and the Dark Elders group leaped forward and rushed towards Luo Qingtong's direction. On the way, Su Yu's group tried their best to stop them, but the difference in strength was too big. They were all sent flying by the attack. Pung! Beast-tamer King Guguju stomped Su Yu to the ground. Looking at the other party's unyielding, stubborn, and aloof gaze, he laughed coldly. "You really are Luo Qingtong's good dog." His voice was ice cold. "Originally, I wanted to kill all of you so that Luo Qingtong, that B***TCH, would be heartbroken when she wakes up. But now, I've changed my mind." He sneered as he looked at Su Yu's unyielding gaze and said, "Since you're so loyal to that slut Luo Qingtong, I'll let you see with your own eyes how that slut will die without a burial ground in our hands. At that time, I'll watch you die with hatred and bitterness." Beast-tamer King Guguju laughed loudly as he said this. These ant-like people, for that slut Luo Qingtong, actually dared to challenge their dignity. Beast-tamer King Guguju was a first-class master of the Great Mason Forest and a peak Saint Venerable expert. In the hidden world, he could call the wind and summon the rain, arrogant and domineering. For people like Su Yu and the others, he was usually too lazy to even look at them. But just now, this group of ant-like people, relying on the various trump cards and benefits that Luo Qingtong gave them. They made him suffer one loss after another. In the end, they even had to throw away their own Sect's elders to open a path for them to break through their defensive line. To Beast-tamer King Guguju, this was a great shame and humiliation for him. He actually suffered such a big loss at the hands of these people who were like ants that he could easily trample to death. Beast Tamer King Gu Guju's face became distorted as he thought about it. Letting these people die like this was too easy for them. Didn't they want to protect Luo Qingtong? Then let them see how that slut Luo Qingtong would die at their hands. How did the treasure that she wanted end up in his hands? Beast Tamer King Gu Guju's face was extremely cold as he thought about it. He lifted his leg and kicked Suyu to one side. When he spoke, he had already rushed towards him without caring about anything else. The aura in his body was frantically mobilized, and he was about to explode. However, since Beast Tamer King Gu Guju wanted to let them watch Luo Qingtong suffer, how could he let them die so easily? He had already prepared for this move of theirs. Suyu had just mobilized the aura in his body when he felt a sharp pain in his dantian. When Beast Tamer King Gu Guju made his move, he had already mixed a wisp of his aura into his attack and blasted it into the bodies of the heavenly diabolism and the aura in their dantian. Chapter 2174. Humph, you want to blow yourself up? Beast Tamer King Gu Guju sneered. Leading the Dark Elder and the others, he strode past Su Yu and the others, who were lying on the ground, unable to move. You guys just stay here and watch how Luo Qingtong dies. When Beast Tamer King Gu Guju and the others arrived, only little Overlord Yuan, Su Xiaoxiao and the others were left by Luo Qingtong's side. This group of young men and women, who met Luo Qingtong in the Tianyu Empire, followed behind Luo Qingtong and witnessed the splendor and prosperity of this world that originally did not belong to them. They also witnessed the great changes of the four great sacred dynasties of the eastern region. They rose from humble beginnings and met Luo Qingtong as trash. Their lives, which should have been incomparably miserable, had undergone earth-shaking changes because of Luo Qingtong's existence. This group of people knew that they were lucky. They also knew that without this luck, they would not be qualified to follow Luo Qingtong at all. The girl protected them as they grew up. She said that if they could not keep up, she would not wait for them. But boss, you gave us so many opportunities and resources, how could we not keep up? People said that evil Dr. Ghost I was unrestrained and arrogant, cold and ruthless, and his methods were ruthless. But what they saw was the cold-hearted and ruthless, if you don't leave, I won't abandon you. It was the arrogant and unrestrained, no one is allowed to touch my people. It was the ruthless, my benefactors will flourish for 3 generations, my enemies will be returned 1,000 times over. It was the deep affection that gave them a sense of belonging and security after they called her boss. In this world, perhaps there were many people who came because of their achievements as geniuses and experts. But when they were weak and helpless, there was only one Luo Qingtong, who reached out her slender hand to them, pulled them out of the abyss, and helped them become dragons. Get ready. Little Overlord Yuan said calmly. He took the lead and stood in front of Su Xiaoxiao. The others didn't say a word. They all stood by his side, surrounding Su Xiaoxiao in the middle. With their strength, they had no chance of winning against Beast Tamer King Gu Guju and the others. They did not step forward to fight to the death with Beast Tamer King Gu Guju and the others. Instead, it was to cover Su Xiaoxiao when she released the bottle of liquid medicine at a close distance. Su Xiaoxiao's combat ability as a pharmacist was getting stronger and stronger. Her ability to concoct medicinal liquids in battle was also getting better and better. Even she didn't know how much power this bottle of liquid concocted from the mythological beast flowing light and the spiritual chi light pillars could exert. Could they kill the Beast Tamer King Gu Guju and the others? But, it was better than them trying to stop the enemy. Luo Qingtong was about to succeed. Even if they died, they had to hold on a little longer for Luo Qingtong. Tisk, overestimating yourselves. Seeing their actions, the hearts of Beast Tamer King Gu Guju and the others were filled with coldness and disdain. What did the people around Luo Qingtong think they were? It was true that any random cat or dog wanted to find some sense of existence on them. Did they really think that Luo Qingtong was a god? Forget about Su Yu and the others from before. With the abilities of a beast tamer and the cooperation of the demonic beasts around them, they could at least exchange a few blows with them. But what did the group of young men and women in front of them have? Chapter 2175. Beast Tamer King Gu Guju and the others looked gloomy, feeling like they were being looked down upon and humiliated. The people around that bitch Luo Qingtong were really as arrogant and condescending as she was. However, arrogance without strength was even worse than stupidity. Beast Tamer King Gu Guju and the others sneered and rushed toward Little Tyrant Yuan and the others. Let's just torture and kill this group of people. Anyway, Su Yu and the others have already come to make Luo Qingtong suffer. Thinking so, they looked at Little Tyrant Yuan and the others with unspeakable ruthlessness. At this moment, Little Pig had just rushed out of the encirclement of the Great Yong Saint Corpse puppet by the group of mutated Beast Tamer King Valley elders. Seeing this scene, she was so scared that her two little ears instantly stood up. Oh my god! The people of Beast Tamer King Valley were so close to killing Luo Qingtong. No, this can't go on like this. He had to hurry to Luo Qingtong's side. Little Pig couldn't change back to his original form alone. He still needed Luo Qingtong's blood and the contract mark to unseal. Thinking of this, he hurriedly rushed toward Luo Qingtong like a bolt of lightning. At this moment, Little Tyrant Yuan and the others also faced off against Beast Tamer King Gu Guju and the others. Seeing that Beast Tamer King Gu Guju and the others had already rushed in front of them, Little Tyrant Yuan's petrification soul seal was activated to the extreme. His skin instantly became as hard as granite. Under his activation, the skin all over his body even made cracking sounds. That was Little Tyrant Yuan's petrification soul seal being activated to the extreme, almost tearing his skin apart. Behind Little Tyrant Yuan and the others, Ling Tianhan, Sima Ju, and the others were all ready. Boom! The moment Beast Tamer King Gu Guju and the others rushed in front of them, Su Xiaoxiao released the medicinal liquid in her hand. The medicinal liquid needed 1 or 2 breaths of time to activate. And this was the reason why Little Overlord Yuan and the others had prepared. Bastard! Beast Tamer King Gu Guju and the others felt a dangerous aura the moment Su Xiaoxiao waved her hand. Their faces were filled with shock and anger. They didn't expect that Su Xiaoxiao, who looked delicate and weak, and whose strength was even the weakest among Yuan Little Overlord and the others, could actually make them feel a sense of danger from the aura emanating from her hands. What was that? Everyone was shocked. Almost without thinking, they aimed all their attacks at Su Xiaoxiao. However, the latter was protected behind Little Overlord Yuan and the others. When Beast Tamer King Gu Guju and the others attacked, Yuan Little Overlord took the lead to meet them. Pang pang pang. The skin all over his body exploded into pieces of blood clots. The skin that was as hard as granite all shattered in an instant, revealing his flesh and bones. Yuan Little Overlord cried out in pain, but his feet on the ground were like 2 iron pliers, fiercely clamping the ground. He didn't retreat a single step. Behind him, Sima Ju, Ling Tianhan, and the others followed behind him and released their own attacks, clashing with the attacks of the Beast Taming King Valley's Valley Master and the others. Pang pang pang. When their attacks collided with the attacks of Beast Tamer King Gu Guju and the others, they couldn't match at all and shattered inch by inch. But it bought Su Xiaoxiao the most precious time. Boom! As Yuan Little Overlord and Ling Tianhan were bombarded to the point of vomiting blood and kneeling on the ground, their bodies exploded into bloody figures. You're tuning in to the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.